Where'd it go? Happy Easter, everybody. Hey, Kingston. Hi, how are you? Happy Easter. You guys already know what I'm coming on to talk about. Happy Easter. You guys know I'm about to talk about the shootings that happened today. Yeah, I did not come on earlier. I wanted to enjoy my friends who have been so kind to invite me over, and I get to spend a night over their house and take a break from life. It was kind of like a momcation. We had potatoes, like scallops. We made meatballs. It was such a good day. I did not drink yesterday. I drank way too much. So today I did not drink no wine. So those of you who enjoyed Easter with a little sip of wine, I hope you had a sip from me. Thank you so much, Jay. But now that everybody's sleeping, I don't want to be too loud. But we are going to discuss guns in America. Like always. You see, I don't just talk about guns because I'm trying to become TikTok famous for gun control. No. If I wanted to be famous for anything, I would talk about my music. Yeah, about to drop another album. But do you guys see me promote that? Never. I would talk about real estate. I would try to get one of your houses for listings if you live in Connecticut. Do I talk about real estate really? No, because that would be something for me. See, gun control is about us. So I have to admit, I might be an angel sent from earth to bring forth awareness. If at the end of the day, you come to my life and you are enlightened by our conversations, then I've done my job. I've done it well. My goal is not to change your political perspective. My job here on my platform is to get you to think how we can come together and how we can change the culture. You can't do that by gun laws. You can't do that by manufacturing more guns. You can't do that by giving you money or me money or even becoming famous. You see, in order to penetrate the culture, you have got to speak to the spirits of the people of our country. Listen, I never said you had to believe in God, but it doesn't mean that there isn't a spiritual energy that we all have. And something has to be awoken within every single American to understand that gun violence, gun-related deaths are affecting everyone. And it is not discriminative at all. It doesn't care how old you are. It doesn't care what color you are. The bullets are penetrating everyone for whatever reason. Lots of reasons, actually. That's why we have to take a holistic approach. Okay? So if some of you guys think, like, Dre, you're not doing nothing, I'm doing a lot by just talking to you guys. And what I find out is that people that are a part of gun culture don't care. So if you're going to be a part of gun culture, if you're going to be a part of the gun being a part of your life, then you have to make all of our lives matter before your sport or your fear mongering. You're scared. Everybody's scared. Well, they have guns. Criminals have guns. So is it going to stop them from getting to you either way? Criminals are smarter. They're more clever. You're not going to live your life thinking like a criminal if you're not a criminal. You're going to live your life business as usual. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to wait till you're vulnerable. They're going to wait till the public's vulnerable or your kids are vulnerable. Or maybe you might be a victim of your own hands. And guess what? You will also be vulnerable in a moment of weakness you could be a victim of yourself, intentionally or unintentionally. So when is enough enough? Have you had enough? Or do you just want to continue to keep this devil reigning supreme? It's not Joe Biden doing it. It's not the liberals doing it. We are doing it. Unfortunately, we are all boxed into this freaking disgusting category of, gun archives. Look at the numbers. Look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Every day people are dying and kids are dying most. Second leading cause. Happy Easter. People died today from a mass shooting. On Easter. So sad. It's really sad to me. And because you rather protect the gun than be a part of the solutions, people are going to continue to die. Jay said they claim since the government has big guns, they should own them. Crazy. I know. Like, is that working in Ukraine? Do people in Ukraine not have guns? We have to give them more guns, but is it really helping? By the way, what's going on in Ukraine with Russia? It's freaking amazing to me. Like, how is this guy doing all this? It's disgusting. People can't even leave the country. Men perpetuate violence the most in the world. Men. That's right. Putin is a man. I think women need to be in power. I think if women start taking control over things, then we might see a change in the culture and in our country and in our world. I mean, could you imagine if we just flipped the script a little bit? You're telling me every year since this country's been birthed, only men have been presidents, and it's year 2022? You're telling me you can't find nobody besides freaking Hillary Clinton? And look at the women that are in power. Nobody talks good about them. Tell me one good thing about Nancy Pelosi. You can't. Tell me one good thing about Kamala Harris. You can't. Even the women in power. Look at the judge, Ketanji Brown Jackson. You can't. She's not qualified, I guess, that she's a judge. I can't anymore. Help me help you. That's what I'm saying. Let's help each other. Birthing children and taking care of the home is where you are best suited. Yeah, no, that's not going to work over here because there's a lot of single mothers, okay? And I think it takes two people to raise a child. It takes a village, actually. So that's not going to work. Blame it on the women. It's the women's fault that these men are crazy. Just blame it on us. Come on. Stop it. It's the testosterone. This whole Napoleon complex. I'm sorry, Napoleon complex. Women don't have that. We don't care that much. Like, if we're going to go after somebody, like, we'll do something grimy, like on the slide, and then watch it happen. We're vindictive, but we're not cold-hearted. Cold stone. Stuff is going on in Russia. Men are doing it. Sad. Listen, but I will agree, maybe we're not the best drivers. But we could definitely run the hell out of this country if you give us a chance. Remember the manic who opened fire on a crowd of people from a high-rise hotel with high-powered guns? Are you talking about the Las Vegas massacre? That was the deadliest mass shooting in the country, was in Las Vegas. But for some reason, they only want to bring up Chicago. Deadliest freaking shooting was in Vegas. But they can't mess up the money. You don't know that? They're not going to mess up Vegas. They're not going to make you think that it's dangerous in the Sin City. Can't do that. You know how much money is brought into Vegas? Come on. I'm not going to put that on the media. Drop it on Chicago. Yeah. Blame Chicago. Deaths via the gun nationwide. Yeah, so many. It just keeps happening. It's like, listen, being a part of gun control, you're on TikTok. It's like when it happens, I'm like, oh, good. My freaking life is going to be lit. What are we going to talk about? The same things over and over again? People are getting bored of me. Oh, yeah. Andrea's on right now. She's talking about gun control. She's talking about the mass shooting again. Wow. You guys are getting that desensitized to me and to it. It's just so sad to me. Like, literally. I don't know how long I'm going to be here on this earth. And the way people drive in Connecticut, who freaking knows? But at this point, I know that if I ever go to heaven, you know, I think I'm going to get a jewel for doing this. Because there's a need for it. Not to bump my own horn. But y'all don't seem to want to freaking come on board. So you guys are giving me a role. What do you want for gun control? Good question, Benjamin Martin. I want to see things unnormalized. I would just simply like the conversations to lead more towards the realization of the purpose of gun control first. And then I would like to see people that are leading in politics actually stop lobbyists from pumping money into politicians that aren't doing anything. Like, you don't get to continue to lie to us and reign supreme anymore. You know, I would like to see governors, state by state, mirror each other, you know. I would like to see safety education on the topic, you know. I would love to teach people how to do what I do, you know. How can you talk to the public and bring forth awareness and deal with the backlash? It's not going to be easy. So how do I deal with it, you know? I really don't know. But I think that creating the new norm to talk about it is important. And then to bring forth factual statistics and bring forth stories and news-worthy stories to bring forth awareness, to get people to think, to get the criminals when they're bored and they're watching TV. They watch TV, they're human. To say, you know what? Wow, I didn't realize that, you know, because of my decisions, I'm going to hurt people that are like me. And just maybe they'll find another way to handle business, you know, by simply taking the gun out of your hand. If you were in Chicago, could save a life. More than likely a person that looks like you and me, if you're brown. 70% of the time people kill their own people or hurt their own people, the crime is done by the same people due to proximity. So by just getting the gun out of your hand and lowering the homicidal rates, you're going to change the game. You're going to make your town more desirable. You're going to make people want to move there because now it's deemed safe on the streets. And people are going to invest. And when people invest, you pump money into the town, money into the area. The taxes will go towards the schools, will bring forth more education. Taxes will go to the roads, will go to policing, so that they're trained more, so they're not over-policing, so that the police aren't overwhelmed, but they're just good cops, so therefore they enforce the law. I mean, how much time do you got? I can go on and on. There's so many things that we could be doing that I don't see happening. Dylan Roof had an arsenal. He took out 9 innocent black people in a church. He had a sandwich after. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know, and I've seen the way that cops treat, you know, our white peers when they pop off. Look at Kyle Rittenhouse. Look how society gave him $2 million to, seek justice. I think that should be illegal. You should not be able to have a GoFundMe for somebody that's facing murder, double homicide, because you think he defended himself. That's crazy to me. How many other people that are breaking the law are getting funded by people? Like, that just doesn't seem right to me. So there's just so many things in society. How is it going to change if we don't drop the seed or the pebble in the water? I want to be the pebble in the water. Let's get this ripple effect going, Could save a child's life, could save your life or mine. And if you're a part of the gun and you think that you needed to protect other people, well, then start protecting people instead of just worrying about yourself. Because I don't see them doing nothing. If you told me you were law-abiding and you have a concealed carry, I'm like, for who? Are you going to hook me up? Because I really feel like you're not. Hello. Happy Easter, everyone, by the way. A few people that are here. The police drove him through a drive-through again. That's crazy. What about the GoFundMe for rioters? Yeah, no, I don't think that that's okay either. I don't think you should have a GoFundMe for people that have to go through due process. I don't think it's right. I think it should be illegal. Do you remember me? No. Sorry. So, who am I? I'm just an American, African-American person who cares to have these conversations. Because if you ask me, society is sick right now. So if I could tell the world this, I would say we need a medicine called action. Now, he said rioting was bad, obviously, but they weren't thinking about the consequences. I agree. I don't understand rioting. I will never understand how somebody's like, now I could burn down my own city and steal, and it's okay. And be in church on Sunday. I don't get it. I don't get the rioting. I understand where it came from, but the message behind it is what? Like, I saw this one lady say, she goes, we're burning down the city, we're rioting because nothing is ours. Well, who gave you the right to burn and mess up other people's stuff? Like, it's just really not becoming of anyone to partake in such hoodlum, ratchet, criminal behavior. Like, you can't steal because it's the time to steal. Like the movie, it's the time to get, really? No. I don't agree with it. I don't condone it. But I understand why people do it. But the protesting part. But when it goes to the rioting, like when I was watching the Kyle Rittenhouse videos through the trial, so entertaining, by the way. I was like, these people are lost their mind, because guess what? No one was enforcing the law. Freaking, you got the National Guard there. What were they doing? Nothing. They stood there and watched people do criminal things. What's the point of having them? Just to stand around? They're not doing a dang thing. That's why I said gun laws without enforcement is nothing. So if you have gun laws, and especially strict ones, and there's still high crime, well, that just shows you that they're not enforcing it. It's not rocket science. It's common sense. They're not enforcing the law. Why? Because they are allowing people to kill each other and hurt each other and act like freaking maniacs. What benefit would that do? Well, guess what? Every time you guys burn the city, every time you guys do all these things, the tax money has to overcompensate. So all that money that would have been to the education, all the money that would have been to the roads now has to double up and go to hiring the National Guard and all these things. And they're not even doing anything. They're just collecting a check while you guys burn down the city and everybody's got insurance. So it's time to collect. It's a time to collect. Stupido. Should we ban what? Should we ban private legal representation? Private legal representation? No. Why would you ban private legal representation? Are they licensed to be an attorney? I don't think there's anything wrong with private legal representation. I think what's wrong is when the public is representing you. That's like so wrong. How are you going to be pro se per society? Wow. I didn't even know you could do that. Look at OJ. He was a prime example of representation by society. And he definitely did it. I don't care what you say. He did it. If you are not given anything, treat like S, then see something you won't think. What? I don't condone it, but I understand it. Okay, yeah, that's what I said. Oh, thank you, Haiti. Easter. Since I've been single, I've been trying to I don't know, care a little bit more. Thank you. How was your guys' Easter, by the way? So only the rich are allowed to have good lawyers? Pretty much. Yeah. Or you're gonna get some public defender who doesn't really care. They don't get paid anything. They care. Just clocking in, waiting to come up. That's so sad to me that it takes money in order to be represented correctly. Really? That's not how law is supposed to be, because you're supposed to have a fiduciary duty. Money has everything to do with law. People love when you get divorced. It's all about money. Everything in this country is about money. That's capitalization for you. Everything. The war is about money. Everything is about money. And I hate to break it to you, we created it. It is not God-given. We created this thing called money. And we are killing each other over it every single day. And it means nothing. You can't take it with you when you die. You can leave it behind for your family members, but what happens when they die? If your fellow citizens can't help fund legal representation, you don't think the poor deserve good? If your fellow citizens can't help fund legal representation, you don't think the poor deserve good lawyers? I definitely think everyone deserves good lawyers. And I think if you have an attorney that's, maybe a public defender or something like that, and you don't think that they're doing a good job, I know this for a fact. I'm not an attorney, but I do work with a lot of attorneys because I'm a realtor. You can fire them. You can ask the judge for a newer lawyer. Do not allow somebody to represent you that is not representing you well, and you don't feel that they have your fiduciary duty, which is your best interest above their pockets. Fire them. I fired attorneys real quick. So you don't feel like they're hearing you or representing you. You could just do pro se, or you could represent yourself, which I don't recommend ever. Good. Went to church this morning with family. Good. What was the message? I didn't go to church this morning, but that doesn't mean that I didn't feel God. You said, I saw the protesters inside the Michigan Capitol building, fully armed and angry at the governor. Wow. Yeah, is that healthy, though? When are we going to start mentioning God in his teaching? He said to love your enemy. He said to turn the other cheek. He said, thou shalt not kill. Some basic freaking 101. Whether you believe in God or not, this is just a good way to be a human, good Samaritan. When are we going to go back to that? Okay, so you don't like Joe Biden, but it says in the Bible you're supposed to pray for your leaders. We don't love Putin. We hate Putin. Let's pray for Putin. Let's pray for him. Yeah, I believe in the power of prayer because it's energy, and that's real. What if we all just prayed for our enemies and say, you know what, God, I don't know why he is deciding to be a part of such devastation in the region of Ukraine. And 200 kids have lost their life because of this greed of power and conquering. And Lord, I pray that you give him some dreams. You send your angels. You send something that will wake him up to make him stop. And pray for his heart to beat a little bit harder, you know? Like give him like some type of freaking nightmare or something. Have you ever had a nightmare? I'm telling you, if you wanna get at somebody, pray for a nightmare for them. They gonna wake up real changed. A lot of people talk about being good people, but I just don't see it lately. I just don't see it. You know, people are just in a rush. They're just into whatever they doing, you know. Do me a favor tomorrow. Why don't you, like, you know, say something nice to someone that's being mean to you? Like, do the opposite of whatever you think you're going to do. What would Jesus do? Remember those little bracelets? Bring that back. You said that's why GoFundMe for people you want to help is not a problem. Yeah, no, listen, GoFundMes are great. But to go fund somebody that's a criminal, I think that's, or being, going through due process, I just think that's wrong. You know, get a good lawyer. You are entitled to good representation because there's a fiduciary duty that they vowed for. Anyway, for a new equal poor public defender, you're missing the. I don't even know what you're saying. That neat. The message is about Jesus being risen. Obviously, it appears that we're killing each other until we peak apparent condition. It's just so sad to me. How could you take someone's life? How could you be a part of that? You know, I've been through a lot in my life. You guys know I'm going through a breakup still. This is week 3. Actually going on 4 now. And I've been hurting so bad. But I couldn't imagine hurting anybody because I'm hurting. You know, they say hurt people hurt people. And I get that because you just become so numb. But how do you get to the point to where you're going to kill somebody because you want their sneakers or they didn't pay you back $20 or something? Dumb stuff. Or some dude slept with your girl, so now you got to retaliate. Or even somebody's like selling on your block or something, some gang-related drama. Like, learn to use your fist and have people live to fight another day. Like this guy, Frank, whatever, this black guy, you know, which is funny because now the narrative has changed. Now black people are also part of mass shootings. Why do that? He went to a train station, decided to pop off, just hurting random people for what? They don't know you. Like, for what? Now your life is over. For what? You're mad? Because you're mad? Really? We're all mad. So we all supposed to pop off? Do you think people of color could have shown up at any governmental facility fully armed? No. I mean, just look at the Black Panthers. I mean, if you see black militias, there's people, cops, they come through. They don't even give you the idea that you could start a militia if you're black and get away with it. We can't even protest peacefully without freaking people popping off. Like, the privilege is on fleek. But I would like black people to start waking up and stop killing each other. Like that's got to stop. Do you think that black men that shot all those people and because was a release and was released on bond was white supremacy? Do you think that the black man that shot all those people, because it was released on bond, was white supremacy? White supremacy is not like an individual thing or a case. White supremacy is a societal construct that hurts people on a massive level. You can't just say like one individual thing. One individual person can be a white supremacist all day. It's not going to affect anybody. Maybe the people he meets or she meets. White supremacy is what creates genocides. Okay, that's how powerful it is. White supremacy creates laws that hurt and marginalize people that are from different races for centuries. White supremacy is the type of thing that will kill somebody or get someone killed because if they whistled. Remember that story? At the wrong person. They didn't even care. He was a young boy. Took his life. White supremacy is a Napoleon complex. Overcompensating for what? To be a part of this powerful entity. To be born into that is powerful. And they know it. Hi, Chasey. Everybody's my cousin. Hi, Chase. Happy Easter. Love you. Miss you. It's my cousin. She just bought a new house, you guys. The Anna, you got a long, some of y'all names are long. A woman up the street from you was involved in an insurrection in D.C., middle-aged white woman. She's been treated so gently. Wouldn't happen with anyone of color. It's awful. Yeah, and we know it. We know it. But they act like they're holding them accountable, but are they? When the media is perpetuating the idea that they had a reason. A woman up the street from me, I don't know what that noise is. I think my friend's washing something, sorry. A woman up the street, okay, I read that. Putin is defending his nation because NATO didn't honor the Warsaw Treaty. Okay, but he's doing it in the most heinous way, creating war crimes. I mean, I've heard the most heinous stories, and I'm sure you have too, and I'm not going to repeat it here, of what is going on in not Russia, but Ukraine. I don't care about your reason. Your actions are blasphemy. They are just freaking amazing. What's been going on? I've heard people trying to leave and being killed for trying to leave. Are you kidding me? And I keep asking myself this. I go, could something like that happen in the United States of America? I really hope not. And do you feel safe here? As I do. And I feel like we have our country to thank for that. Like, we need to bring back our pride to be a part of a country that makes sure or tries to make sure that we're protected at all costs. I mean, I feel like the president in Ukraine just looks tired. I saw him today on the news. He was wearing a hoodie. He looks stressed. His people are dying. And you guys talk crap about Joe Biden. And y'all rule full right now off of Easter dinner. With your stimmy checks. Yeah. Massive privilege. Yep. And there's no reason for people that benefit from white supremacy to admit it. Because then that would mean that they would be a part of societal's issues. And nobody wants to, they just keep it on the hush-hush. But we all know. And they know. But as long as they don't say it, we'll just know it. And deal with it. Because they ain't going to change it. Why would they? That's a form of power. Centralized power, centricity between them that benefit. So sad to me. Burning down cities isn't peaceful protest. When you bring up, 6% of incidences that happened over, let's say, I think it was 93% of our country coming together for a cause, more people were brought together during these protests, racially diversified. I mean, it was just a beautiful thing to see bodies massively together, all colors, all races, all religions. So much, it looked like a body of water. It looked like a river of humans. That's how much people believed in the statement, Black Lives Matter. Because if all lives matter, which was the counter phrase, then that would mean Black Lives Matter too. So there was no counter. It was the truth. And it felt good to know that white people in this country got it. Finally, Martin Luther King's dream came true 2020. But, if these people, these liberals, keep going, we're not going to have white supremacy. And in some poor white Americans, that's all they got. They said, well, I'm not rich. I'm never going to be rich. But I got power in who I am. That's heritage. The power of us. Wow. Must be good. Must feel great. Now, could you imagine another flip to that coin? The power of my people is fighting for basic human rights, God-given. White supremacy is so powerful that you took away our God-given rights. Couldn't even drink from a fountain at 50 years ago. Oh, you can't drink from that fountain, you ain't white. Are you kidding me? What's white? Because majority of African Americans do have white in our system. For years, we were freaking used and abused for pleasure. Yeah. And for capital. Yeah. But we're lazy. Who's making the narratives? Look around you. We've been working since we got here. If anything, we need a break. You couldn't even imagine if you flipped the script. You couldn't even imagine it. If it's real, then why do more white people sit in jail than Asians? I mean, that's just because there's more of you guys. Asians are a minority. They're like 2% of the population. There's more white people in this country. There's 70% of the white people. They're always going to dominate every topic. There's more of you guys. Due to population, is it really that many? Come on. Listen, I suck at math, but I definitely aced common sense. Burning down white businesses that they put in the ghetto, good job. I don't condone violence and I don't condone rioters. I don't think that's a good job at all. I think that's stupid. You know what they say, stupid is as stupid does. And all it does is create more division, and it makes them feel like, okay, well, they're going to burn down the cities and they deserve to die. Their lives don't matter. I'm North Carolina, and I meant white privilege. He was out today on 12K bond. I'm in North Carolina, and I meant white privilege. He was out today on a 12K bond. You're trying to create some type of narrative, and it's just not working. Sorry. Who's depending on it? You're asserting, or Domino, you're talking to Bill. Okay. That statement right there is why white people carry guns. Well, if you look at statistics, white men are dominating suicidal rates. So if you're a white male and you're carrying a gun, you're statistically more than likely going to use it against yourself. So who's winning? And that wasn't black people who burned that stuff. It was white. They showed the video. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of white people at the riots. explain Kyle Rittenhouse and Rosenbaum that died. And everyone that died when Kyle Rittenhouse was at the riot was white people. Are you kidding me? No. Shooting inside mall leaves 14 wound. Okay, so if you guys don't know this, you're gonna know that as I'm on my phone, I get the alerts of the news. Go look, go look. I just got alerted. Another freaking mass shooting at a mall. Like, this is getting exhausting, you guys. Like, not like I have the energy to do this, but what I'm saying spiritually, I'm just like, wow, I was actually right. Like, America has lost their mind. Mental illness is plaguing a lot of people. It's really sad. You got to be crazy to think, oh yeah, let me go shoot up, a whole bunch of people I don't know for whatever reason. Yeah, no. And then they end up taking their lives, so they think, oh, I'm gonna take a whole bunch of people with me. Why? Why? You're about to be out. Just clock out. It's because these young people are soft and weak. I just think people have a really hard time dealing with emotions because, now it's so normal to say, like, that's weird to feel that way, or people can't express their anger in a healthy fashion. We have lost the proper way to deal with life. You know, for instance, like, I wish I had a business where you could just go into a room and break things. Like, how awesome would that be if you had like a tough day and you're like, where are you going? I'm going to the break room. A break room? Yeah, literally. And then you go into the break room and you could just take a hammer and with a helmet and gear and just take it all out. Like, I go to the gym and I swear to God, I don't care if you are annoyed by me. Sometimes I have to pick up 35-pound weights and I have to grunt and I have to lift. And I know my arms are getting freaking nuts, but I don't care. Like, this is not about you. I'm releasing anger right now. Do you mind, bro? Well, you mad because I lift more than you, bro? You know what I'm saying? Like, I go to the gym and I run until it hurts because I'm taking out my frustration from my life. I got to get my charger, and it's healthy. Who cares if I'm not freaking 20 pounds? I'm releasing anger in a healthy fashion, and it should be normalized. But somebody will be like, oh my God, you're so weird in the gym. Like, worry about you, bro. All right, guys. Well, listen, I want to hear what you guys have to say. I think I gave you guys a lot of thoughts, right? Things to think about. I think a lot of content. The more I do this, the more grounded I get. I'm telling you, it's like, I'm just so amazed that there aren't more influencers bringing forth, awareness towards our gun culture that has gone wrong. I mean, it went real far left. I'm talking Dixiecrat left or far right. You know what I mean? You know. Okay, I was wrong. Far right, left. You know. Okay, let me hear what you guys have to say. Let's talk. To go have another glass of wine, and then my mind was like, Drea, really? You really want to do that to yourself again? Like, I can't even enjoy it. Like, I don't even want to drink anymore. Like, I really don't. Like, and I don't want to smoke, but it's like I need some type of something. It's like, what can I do? Because I don't want to feel like crap no more. Just like, don't do anything. I know what you're saying. Just don't do anything, Andrea. Just like live. And I'm like, but I need an outlet because I have trauma. So it's proven that people with trauma have to soothe themselves. How can I soothe myself when I'm freaking I do go through my increments of not drinking. So if you do the sober thing, I'll let you, girl. Okay? More power to you. How do you do it? I do it, but I don't keep doing it. You know what I mean? Maybe I need to just do it. Did you ever try listening to the police? Maybe they won't shoot you. That's not the case in every scenario. Elijah McClain, people are scared they're going to die because of the cops. Because they're killing them. And they don't care. Almost every one of them are resistant and won't listen. That's not true. That's just not true. I've seen it. Like, the first thing they do is draw their gun. It's scary. Guns are scary. Especially when people think that they could just kill you because they think you're breaking the law. There was a cop that shot a young boy. She thought it was a taser. She said, taser, taser, taser. It was a freaking bullet and killed this young boy. And she got in trouble. But I don't think she got in trouble enough. I think she got like 3 years. What was his name again? Sorry, I can't think of it right now. Help to feed my family for Easter. Anything is appreciated. Come on. Are you serious, bro? Like, Easter is over. Like, where are you? It's 10 o'clock Eastern time. Like, that I don't understand. Like, you had yesterday to beg for money. Okay? The day's over. Who does that? Go get a job. Or have somebody in your life that cares that can freaking spot you. Ew. They're not your spotters. I'm not even asking for money. That's real ghetto. It's going to my life. Hey, man, you got some money? We are talking about guns. Like, if you don't get your little begging little self over here, Pookie. Bruh. Bro. Hey. Yeah. Are you guys going to come talk to me or no? Oh, yeah. Come on. Let's get this conversation going. I got an hour. Oh, my cousin. Yay. Chase, if you don't put the camera on right now, Chase, I swear to God.
I am in bed.
I don't care, Chase. It's Easter.
Oh,
Say hi to the family.
how
When
do
I
I
mean
turn the
family,
camera on?
I mean me.
How do I turn it
Put the
on?
camera on. Put the camera.
How?
How do you not know? Where is TK? TK, are you there? Tell my cousin how to turn on the camera. Usually he is here. Are y'all coming?
Wait, hold on.
It's time to debate. Oh, she left. Chase, if you don't get back here. That's my little cousin. She ain't little, but to me, she's my little cousin. Are you guys coming? Come. Let me know your thoughts. Like, I feel like your thoughts are like my gold. Give me your thoughts. Yeah. Yay. Everybody, my cousin Chase, say hi. She's serving our country well. She's a new homeowner. And she's got dimples. See, I'm really jealous because I didn't get that. I didn't get that. What are you doing? How was your Easter?
It's going good. I haven't done anything
Okay,
yet.
Chase, really? Really?
What?
Are you just gonna just come on here with your nose looking like that?
Yeah.
When? Chase. That's too big. Chase, you see, okay, so Chase is my younger, so she's a whole grown woman, but she's still my little cousin, and she just does rebellious things like this, like
Rebellious.
that's come on, look at this,
It's how I
Chase.
express myself.
But you're so beautiful. You want that thing in your nose. How are you gonna blow your boogers?
I'm perfectly fine.
So I know you guys don't care, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. So we have the same grandma. So literally, she's my first cousin. She's the only girl, and we're all obsessed. But look what she does. What's it? Why? Why, Chase? Why? Okay, so you've been working out, so yeah, I see the collarbone. Like I see you. What a show off. Oh really? Look at that. Look at that. You be getting it in too.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what's up. That's
Soul
what's up.
City every day.
That's what's up. Beast mode. That's what's up. You better enjoy what you can. Let me tell you. Chase, how old are you now?
24.
24. Oh dang. Time goes by
Yep.
fast. I still call her Chasey. I call her that when she was little. I called Joshy one time online, and his wife was like, "Who the hell?" She didn't like that. This is my little cousin. I can't have a pet name for my little cousin. Get out here. I don't care if it's your husband. Nah, she's beautiful. They have a beautiful family in Alaska. So Chase, tell us about. So Chase actually grew up in Alaska, guys. It's so interesting. I
Mhm.
never, I, well, and Hawaii, but she actually lived in. She actually just came back from Alaska, right? Were you just there?
No, I was there for Gma's funeral recently.
Okay. Yeah, our great grandmother
Last
passed
year.
away. I didn't go. I haven't seen Gma since I was 12. But guess what? She did the most damage to me. Let me tell you something. Gma would tell me the most craziest stories. That to me, I still have a hard time sleeping. She was old school. We were very lucky to have like, an old school Southern great grandmother who made everything from scratch, y'all. Everything. Cinnamon rolls, freaking. We would go to school. They'd be like this big. I felt rich as a kid because whatever we wanted to eat, she would make.
Mhm.
I remember one time I called it a pancake and she goes, I ain't no pancake. She would be upset. She said, it's a flapjack. I'm like, okay, I guess it's flapjacks.
Mhm.
Miss Gma. So anyways, so if you're here, I want to know where you stand with the guns because you do serve our country and you're a woman and you have a gun.
Mhm.
How do you feel about all the mass shootings, Chase?
Oh. Well, I mean, is there any right way to have an opinion about a mass shooting? I feel like there's not.
Yeah. Yeah, there
There's
is.
nothing good about
It's
mass
not
shooting.
really about being right. It's about noticing what's going on and staying on top of what we keep perpetuating in society. Like this is never ending, and there's not enough people bringing forth awareness to it to make people understand that we are the problem. But
Mhm.
it also has a lot to do with the gun. For you freaking weirdos who say freaking guns don't kill people, people kill people. Well, no, duh.
Mhm.
But without the gun, we'd just be freaking people. We'd find other ways, I'm sure.
Yeah. I do believe in gun rights. I do
Absolutely.
believe people should have rights to own their own firearms with proper
Right.
education and proper restrictions and laws and what's forth and whatnot.
Right. So, okay, can I ask you a question? You're in the military. Have you used a gun before, Chase?
Yep. Boot camp. That was the
Chase,
last
are
time.
you serious?
Yes. I actually went caribou hunting in Alaska not too long ago too.
Did you kill it? Did you kill it,
I,
Chase?
it was my first time shooting a rifle and I missed.
Good. Because what were you going to do with it? Were you going to eat it?
Yeah, I was gonna eat it.
Ew, Chase, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah.
it good? I don't know. I
Yeah.
never had. What is
My
that called?
captain,
Caribou?
we were on a patrol. My captain got a caribou, and he, for the people who didn't get one, he cooked it up and let us try it, and it was really
It was
good.
good.
Yeah,
There's some
I'm
meat out
actually
there.
vegetarian, so if I'm for sustainability and animal rights and whatnot, but the only kind of meat that I will eat is something that I kill myself or something that I raise myself. So,
I actually like that. That actually sounds
hmm
very sensible. So you're not
hmm
the problem. You just won the gun rights test. But listen, there's a lot of people out there that are mentally ill that have guns. You know what I found out today? I found out the gun topic is so interesting to me. It never gets old. They have guns now, you guys, that are plastic and cannot be detected from the metal detectors. They're getting clever.
I didn't know that.
That's crazy. I learned that today. How you gonna make a plastic gun?
No,
And they can print guns. How do you print a gun?
with those new 3D printers,
What the hell are you gonna print out a gun? Like, how long does that take? Like
those things take at least a few hours to work minimum.
somebody said, "Honey, where have you been?" I don't know. If I just arrived, they make plastic guns. It's actually quite easy. What's up, pansexual poet? How you doing?
Mhm.
Um, where's your husband at, Chase?
He's playing video games in the living room.
You like that? Listen, let's talk about this
What?
a little bit. Let's get off the gun because women that allow their men to play with games. Why?
Yeah,
Can we
because he's doing
unnormalize
his
that?
thing. He's doing his thing, and I can be over here doing my thing. We
Okay.
coexist together in a beautiful space. We'll sit in bed, and I'll be reading my book, and he'll be playing his game, and it's just a beautiful thing.
You just
He's
let
not
him do his
bothering me,
thing.
and I'm not bothering him.
Can I ask you this? Is he playing a gun game? What your husband just
He plays different games. He plays like open world games. He plays gun games. He plays driving games. He plays all kinds of games.
Yeah, well, we need to stop making gun games because you know what? I feel like people are becoming desensitized to shooting with the gun and killing people because it's just like a game now for them. It's like a game. Like they don't care to see the blood. They see the blood all the time. It's like, it's cool.
Statistically, though, there's no facts about
Yeah,
if
pansexual. I
game.
see that you requested. Yes, you guys may join. Come through. It's called giving each other space.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
guess.
as long as you
Yeah,
get
but
all your
but
shit in your
but
life
Chase,
done.
just
Like if
think about
that's the
this.
way that somebody else decompresses, then you should allow them their space to do that. Like maybe
Okay.
you're a person who likes to read, they're a person who likes to play video games. Maybe you're with a person who likes to go hiking. It's just what they like to do. So it wouldn't be right to say that you
Can I
can't
say
do.
this? Your voice is very soothing. I dig that. I like this older version of you. But listen, age appropriateness. Is it age appropriate to allow your husband to play a game that kids play?
I mean, what kind of game are you talking about?
Right. I don't know. I couldn't. That's so unattractive to me. I'd rather him, if I, well, that's probably why I'm single now. But
Wait,
listen,
what?
when I start dating
What
again,
is age appropriate though? Why are we
right? Okay. Like, okay.
restricting
So I like
ourselves
to roll.
to do
Okay.
things that are for our age? Like I'm a child at
Okay.
heart. I love to do
First
things
of
kids
all,
do.
Legos are for all ages. For one,
I love
for
Legos.
two, the age suggestion. It's just a suggestion, mind you. 5 to 12. Listen, if I'm 21, I'm gonna play with it. It don't matter. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
got
saying?
Animal Crossing. I play Animal Crossing. That's supposed to be for kids. That's like
Yeah,
eating.
but how do you think that
I
that's sexy? The guy's
I
sitting over there
played
like,
Gen-
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna get you.
I
First
Yeah,
of
played
all,
yeah. I'm
Genshin
like,
hold
you
on,
got
Impact.
bills to pay.
watch this.
Why
Whoa,
does it
watch
gotta
this,
be
watch this, watch
sexy?
this.
And how's he? Why?
Let's
What
say,
if
hold
he's paying
on.
his bills?
Like you looking at him like,
Exactly.
okay,
Watch
so
this,
he's
watch
paying his
this.
bill.
Let's say I had enough money to afford my man cave, right? And I got a whole, fucking city of Legos down there. It don't matter. I mean, I got 5 other bedrooms. You know what I'm saying? 3 bathrooms. It don't
Okay.
matter if my Legos ain't sexy. I
And
know.
so
You know what I'm saying? It
Legos are
don't
good for
matter.
creative
Yeah,
development.
watch me step on one of them, and then I'm gonna freaking hurt you when all your Legos got
Legos
Legos.
are good for creativity. Painting
Well,
is good for creativity. We can't only expand our
I do
mind
well,
like
one
painting.
way. We gotta
My
yeah,
kids, my
want to
kids
be
put me on
well
painting. One
rounded.
time I got upset, and my daughter told me to paint something, and I did. And I was like,
so,
wow, this is really therapeutic. I feel great.
so like I play Genshin Impact. It's a game that you can play. It's an open world game. Um,
Where are you going, Chase?
part of,
Okay.
part of some of the benefits to playing video games and things, chemical releases of endorphins. A lot of these games are strategy games, so
Okay.
you have to think hard about what you're going to do, how to defeat the next opponent, how to get the reward, where the treasure chest might be,
Okay, so it could
puzzles.
be mind stimulating, okay, but my thing is this, like, okay, about the gun games, it's like, is it like what is that game called? Theft, auto theft, or what? Yeah. So what about that game where you're pretty much normalizing, making it fun to do crimes?
So that may be the premise behind it. You're jacking people's cars and driving off, but there are things within that game that you must do. You have to do certain side quests. You have to make it across town in a pizza car to deliver a pizza across town. And you got to figure out the easiest route and the quickest way possible to get there. You have to, and then when you're running from the police, you have to you have to be able to find the safe zone, and you have to get there without getting busted, without getting pulled
Okay,
over.
so but it's still normalizing crime. I just don't, like I'm
Right.
36 years old, so like when I was younger, yeah, I wouldn't think that deep into it, but
In that
um
respect,
things
watching.
aren't too deep into we're all in the situation and we're like, okay, how did this guy go to a mall and just massively shoot 20 people and not feel any remorse? You ever see like somebody that like just like completely numb to it? Well, probably because he played video games. Like video games has like it's
Like,
almost like if you watch porno, then you're kind of like setting yourself up to cheating. It's kind of like building yourself up
What?
for, yeah,
no,
because
no,
you
no.
subconsciously, Well, really, listen to me.
Not even
Subconsciously, you don't
subconscious.
realize it
Not
that
even
you
sub.
are, you know, you're
See
But
what
there
you're
partaking
are
into.
there's
you're
there's
I,
referring to is
games and
yes
there's
with
that are
hypnosis,
for
and
different age groups.
in this
what'd you say,
case,
Chase?
I feel like yeah, maybe you shouldn't let your 10-year-old son play Grand Theft Auto because it's a mature game. There are mature aspects to the game,
Mm-hmm.
but you're allowed to play that it affects them a certain way. Do you think that like game to watch your kid play them so they're not doing anything crazy? But at the same time, like I don't think games have such an effect on you that they change your view of the world once you're mature enough to play such games.
Okay, maybe.
Because you got to have your
and
own reasoning, you got to have
It's
all
got
that.
you know I get what you're saying. Balance.
okay, so put into concept. Okay, so you think that these video games are normalizing that, but if that's the case, then almost every single one of these movies that has come out for the past like 20 years involving, military, involving like Gone in 60 Seconds, or
Yeah. Well, look at Fast and
Fast
Furious, how it made
and the
racing
Furious.
a thing. You know how many people die? Like I believe car-related deaths are on the top tier hierarchy of the top ways to die here in this country. So all I'm saying is it's planting seeds of criminology. It's just we got to do better with our time. Like okay, so basically like I could get let's go
If
back to
you were
the gun thing. Like what you said,
to
like hunting. Like if we made a hunting a thing, like the gun is surrounded by like
we
people
do
being
have hunting
scared
games.
and people being in fear. Like that's not what the Constitution was for.
We do have hunting games. You can buy them all over the place. We got hunting games, fishing games.
Okay, so
Uh,
that's different.
what else?
Like I think we should ban games that promote violence publicly. Like until our gun related deaths go down. Like I'm sorry, America needs to be on timeout.
So, what would happen if you
I don't think
banned
that's going to fix anything, though.
games would cause distension within the child psychology, and what would then happen, because a lot of these things, a lot of these video games are a source of an outlet. So I can't, as a kid, you can't go kill your, axe murder your mom, so you play your axe murder video game. uh you know and it gives you a release
Okay,
of
wow, that was the scenario.
yeah, well, I'm just saying, but it gives you a way to a safe outlet to extend your frustration without actually causing any damage to anybody.
I swear to God, if I saw my kid playing that game, like a killing game, like mom, I'm gonna get you. I'm like, oh, what the heck? We gotta, well, you know what? We gotta monitor our kids either way, because guess what? If I brought such a game to my house, I don't even think my kids would want to play it, because you see, I don't promote that type of
Right.
behavior. Like they don't even ask me for those type of games because they already know what's up.
Yeah,
So
but
to allow your kids to have the rope and to think that that type of behavior is acceptable, I'm telling you, it's not good. That's all I'm saying.
the video games are good. The behavior within the video games is not, and you explain that to your children. That's how you do these things. I mean, you're not going to give a 5-year-old Grand Theft Auto.
But some of them give them guns, so make that make sense.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
the
deep south.
earliest I've heard here is like even
Because guns
3
can be used in a healthy manner. Guns can be used in a productive manner.
Yeah.
right. But until our country gets our act together, I think we have to have a ban. I'm sorry, I know that I'm always like trying to like protect you guys and your guys' guns, and like no, that's the Second Amendment. No, at this point on Easter, I think
What
we
you
need to ban him for a while until we get things under control.
what you're
Hence
gonna end
gun control.
what you're gonna end up with is
It's still a micro. It's still a micro perspective.
yeah.
So
Well,
you got to look at the whole big picture.
if you ban
That's
398
you
million
gotta
guns.
ban them or not.
if
I just
you
don't think that another life lost due to people trying to protect something that doesn't really need protecting is going to be the reason why more people die.
okay, so if you ban guns, completely ban
Right, but
guns,
guns aren't gonna go
that's
anywhere.
So you
effect.
see how you guys are. So if you think that guns aren't going to go anywhere, that just means that, no offense to my lovely cousin and you, pansexual, who I both respect, by you're protecting the gun, so therefore you're kind of like enabling on a societal standpoint vocally, for people to continue to do what they're doing with
It's
criminals
not
and
though.
mentally ill.
No, okay, so I'm gonna finish my statement here.
Okay, go ahead.
If you ban guns, you're gonna have the same effect as if you were to ban abortions. All right, in the effect of, if you ban one, it becomes a back alley matter. So you ban the guns, now people are selling them out of the black market in the back alleys and things like that. So
And
you're
what
not gonna
happens if you get caught?
you
I don't
well
think
you
banning is the answer. I think regulations are the answer.
getting arrested, so you're going to end up with more deaths because now we're shooting people to prevent ourselves from getting arrested instead of safely carrying the weapons.
Okay, so do you guys know what proven method systems are? Proven method systems. It is what it is. It's systems in place that have been proven to work. In real estate, we use it. Like at one point, you could knock on someone's door, and if you knock on so many doors, they usually say yes. Somebody's going to say yes, and you get a listing. It's a proven method. It works. Not so much anymore since COVID, but typically, if you knock on a few doors, somebody's going to give you their house to sell. If you're a good salesperson, it's a proven method. It works. So if I was to tell you in Finland or in
So
Australia
what is
or in
So
Japan, some of the strictest countries, richest countries in the world, have had a almost zero tolerance of guns in their country, and
yeah,
people stop dying from them.
but it's
yeah,
because they
they did that.
originated with that
They
plan
had that
because they
for
originated with it.
a
We can't
long
go back in time and change our innate policy. We have to work with what we got now
yeah. So
But
when
is
it's
it
something
working?
that's
and
always
evolve
been,
and
it's
change and
different than
work towards
just
something better.
taking
Is it?
something away.
But do you think what we're doing is working?
If it well when you
Do you think what we're doing is working?
if it well when you increase when you sit there and slowly increase the amount
Dependers,
of
if you can't handle
gun,
listening to a liberal, then scroll up.
if you slowly increase the amount of gun
Kind of.
control we have over time, it's like weaning a baby off a bottle. So you increase the gun control
Exactly.
more and more until we no longer have guns as an issue. Is instead of immediately banning them, because if you ban all of them right off the bat, you're gonna have a mass like uprising.
Crazy? Who's going to do that? Crazy people?
Like
So
a
Jeremy Hansen says it's a culture problem in low income
That's
neighborhoods,
true.
but it's not just a
That's true.
culture problem in low income neighborhoods. It's a societal issue that was created due to the suppression of peoples and their need to feel secure, safe, due to the criminogenic environments and societal problems.
Yeah, wow. It's
But
good.
it's not going to go away if you ban guns.
Yeah, but all you got to do is add a solution, and you might be the next representation of what America needs to hear. But you got to add some solutions on there. You got to have something or an idea. You can't just
that's why I say
no reason why. We need some answers. We need people to start using their cognitive thinking and start doing some critical thinking to muster up some ideas that we can entertain until we find some proven method systems that actually work with what we got, if that makes sense. We got to do it all, and it got to be the whole country. It can't just be freaking Texas, or which Texas is the last place. Oh my God, their laws are
Gang
horrible.
shootings to feel safe.
yeah,
And
the,
vengeance.
the answer
And it's
to
the
the
toxic
problem.
masculinity of our society that
The answer
that
to the
extends
problem
this.
would not be to
You will give me the
immediately.
Holy Spirit.
It would be
You said
to
it, Chase. Toxic
um.
masculinity. That's it right there, man.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Yeah, sorry, I was reading those comments. That guy.
the answer to the problem of guns would not be to immediately ban them, but like I said, to wean people off of them by increasing the amount of gun control laws. You gradually do that over time, and eventually the gun control law will be so strict that nobody can get one, unless
Okay,
you're,
I like that.
military. Like that. It's
I like that
it's
idea.
a gradual step over time rather than
I
an
don't.
immediate down.
You ever hear of time is of the essence?
Like boiling a frog.
Mm-hmm.
To get frog legs, you have to put a frog in a pot of water that's cold, and then you just slowly raise the temperature. Same effect.
Okay, but how many people are going to die in between that
So many things.
escalation? How many people are going to die?
The war on drugs is a complete sham. Why would you even mention that?
What did you say?
The war on drugs is such a fucking joke.
Explain.
Hmm?
What's going on, Chase?
I'm not. This like the comments.
Oh yeah, the comments are always fun.
From the gentleman there.
Who's doing that? What's going on?
What? How well did that work on what? You mean weaning people off of drugs, slowly increasing the amount of drug control thing? We didn't slowly increase it. We put, they just we're
It was a dramatic
drugs, and we're just gonna slam it down right here today. That is the same effect with freaking prohibition. They tried prohibition. It was just let's slam this down, prohibition, and nobody took to it because they slammed it down instead of weaning people off of it slowly.
Mm-hmm. So you think that weaning people would be a more effective approach? I think we need to do it all. I honestly, I would have to disagree. I think we need a leader with no tolerance. Okay, Asian people are very smart.
That
Okay,
would.
let me tell you something. They're smart as hell, and guess what? They own everything. I just realized this. Somebody said this yesterday when we
but
were.
Japan is
Yesterday
one
we
of
were
the
debating.
safest countries because their society values the community structure. They value authority. The American society is not built on that kind of structure. We value independence, free thinking, and all that. So that their structure wouldn't work here because we are a society of individuals. We are not one.
Well,
so it just wouldn't
that I can understand, and I think that's true right now. But could you imagine 50 years ago, society's norm, and it was legal to treat people of color as if they were less than because they were part of a racial group? That was not even an anomaly. That was actually lawful.
And so they happened with that.
But guess what? The Civil Rights Act, which is a law, came into place. Lyndon B. Johnson, a Democrat, for whatever reason, decided to sign the Civil Rights Act, which is a golden ticket that I carry right now that allows me to be in public and not be discriminated against legally. Like, you can't do it because somebody signed an act, and all of a sudden, if you discriminate me at work, you're getting sued, and I'm getting paid.
That allowed you to be free outside
are people still racist in this country? Absolutely. Do people still discriminate? Absolutely. But what it does is it holds people accountable. So we need to have a act that's going to be as powerful as the Civil Rights Act, that's going to be so freaking strict that if you get caught with a gun illegally, if you get caught with a gun and you do anything with a gun, or if you're a parent of a kid that is breaking the law, you're responsible. You're going down. It's just not going to be worth it to a criminal to take the risk. See, the risk has to be worse than the reward. You understand what that means?
Statistically, though, more penalties don't incur more deterrence. Statistically, it's not true. We do need more regulations and on gun and more gun control, but statistically, the deterrence effect, it's more punishment for less crime, or however you're saying it. It doesn't work like that.
I like to see it work.
People will see risk.
I like to see us try. I would love it. I would just to see a leader say, Biden's too freaking nice. I would say this: if we had a leader that was like, no more. If you break the law, You with the gun, you take somebody's life, you're going down. Who cares about 3 strikes you're out from the 1994 crime bill? It's going to be 1 strike and you're done.
We did have something.
We have to instill the fear.
We did have something like that, and it went downhill quick. Prohibition.
Where is it now?
It doesn't exist anymore
Okay.
because
You need to
downhill.
bring it back.
Like it caused too much problems and too much of a riotous uprising that they realized it was just not worth it. Like people
But
instead.
okay, so it's going to cost money to police. It's going to cost money to make sure that when people pop off, listen, no.
What we need to do is look at a macro perspective of the problems occurring in our society. We need to fix the structural issues going on in our society. We need to work towards prevention, not towards definitive action after the fact. We need to work towards building up communities and like spreading out to the
absolutely.
And that's what will fix the issues.
But
it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen over years and years and years of time once we start implementing these policies and start taking care of our people, vice trying to take care of just the government.
Okay, that is right. But you also have to have a holistic approach. So that, you said prevention, but you also need intervention. That's gun control. Intervention is what's going to prevent people from doing it. So it really goes hand in hand. And having those strict laws would help people accountable with consequences that are that are, like I said, the risk. They always say if there's no risk, there's no reward. You cannot have rewards when you kill people.
Directly affected by the fatherless home rate. Yes, and where does the fatherless home rate come from? That comes from the marginalized incarceration of Black men.
Yeah.
Due to harsher penalties and implemented on Black men.
So this is when that one chick was like, "You need to take an economical cut." They I believe upward mobility is what you're talking about. Listen, I get it. But at this point, a 3-year-old just died and got shot. I don't have time to hold people's hands. I don't care what race you are. Your gang culture is the most repulsive thing because it's a group of people that are deciding to be rebels and not like car thief. Like there's a lot of cars being stolen right now in the town that I just moved to. People work really hard for their money and their things. And if you think for a second, I don't care how old you are, you can come and just take my car. I'm thinking about getting Mercedes-Benz because I'm newly single and I want to ride nice after I buy my house next year. I'm going to buy my Mercedes-Benz. You think you can come take my car? Guess what? There's a law that says if you try to come take my car and I have a gun, I can take your child's life. That's you know what I'm saying? Like nobody wins is what I'm saying. So, I just think we gotta look at it in every perspective, but Black people have to understand that, due to proximity, we are killing each other and we've got a lot of issues. I know that there's a reason behind it. Listen, I was beat almost every day of my life as a kid too. I got issues. But at some point you have to say, well, does that give me the right to freaking be a wreck? What happened at the riots was unacceptable. And I would never protect that. Okay. Black people kill each other on a day-to-day basis. Are you kidding me? Here in this country? Absolutely. Dominating homicide. Why is that happening? Who cares if they fix the laws if at the end of the day somebody's going to get shot because somebody did a deal on somebody's block? That is normal. And it's in a song, and it's in the movies, and it's popular. Like there's a movie called Power, or there's a series.
Because we're not focusing on uplifting the communities.
Listen, you ain't gonna steal. Listen, I don't even want to have a gun because if you try to steal my stuff and I work hard for it, you will have the right. If you go on somebody's property and you don't have the right to be there, and they have no soliciting, they can take your life, and maybe they should. I don't know. This is freaking bad. Let me tell you something.
Okay, I got homework. I love you.
But we were having
Have a great day.
Okay.
I know I have homework to do. It's due in like 5 hours.
Okay, well, bring some of that knowledge back. Okay, bye. Love you.
All right. Love you. Bye.
So
My little cousin Chase. Ooh, she brought on the knowledge. But like I said, I pansexual. You bringing on the knowledge is great. I like that you think that, but this is an idea. I think it should be entertained. You like the scaling up,
yeah,
and I
because
just want to go full force.
yeah, but going full force doesn't really solve anything. Like it never has. Even in the case of freeing the slaves in America, it happened over a gradual period of time. If they'd have just immediately done it right off the bat, the Civil War would have been much worse. If you immediately outlaw guns, you will start another civil war.
Bring it on, then. People are dying anyway.
And
I'm not a part of gun culture, so I don't care about your gun.
if you slowly and gradually deplete the need for it, as well as the easier, if you reduce the ease of access to it over a period of time, you're not going to have a civil war. You'll just have people that are getting used to not having guns.
I believe that we need to watch our gun related deaths archives like we watch the weather, and where there are upticks and where crime is happening, that's where we should focus on a holistic approach, and making sure that these areas are priority number one. Listen, we're all going to die one shape, way, or form or another. But we should be doing everything humanly possible to make sure that these gun related deaths, which are being perpetuated by people in society, are being prevented to a level where it's controlled, hence gun control. And to sit there and hold people's hands in society until what? Until when? I'm confident that somebody's dying right now via the gun. That's disgusting. 3 mass shootings, 3 during Easter weekend. This is just a little snitpick. Hundreds of people, I'm sure, you died this weekend via the gun. Might not even have anything to do with the gun, might not even own the gun, but just was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And you want to slowly make it better for who? Why?
Because if you
Why are you
immediately,
protecting the criminal who could or might be in your area right now?
you're not protecting the criminal, you're protecting the one who the criminal is going to attack. Because if you eliminate guns altogether, the criminals are going to buy up the guns. The criminals are going to go to the back alleys and they're going to buy up the guns. And
Okay, so
since
how are you
we
going to do that in the
don't
back
have guns
alley where
again,
there's surveillance?
you can't put surveillance in every single
I think you
location
should,
on
though.
the
And
entirety of the
then
United
tell
States.
me why. Then tell me why in a
That's
city
like
in
telling
Connecticut
people.
where there's high gun rates in a more predominant neighborhood, there are cameras everywhere. And the minute things get kind of sketchy, there's no cameras. Surveillance works. Criminals are not going to be criminals
But I
if
can
they
guarantee
aren't going to get away
you,
with it.
I am not going to appreciate it when they decide, oh, well,
Okay,
since we can't
so
sell these guns in the back alleys, we're going to start selling them in the bathrooms because we
okay,
can't put surveillance in the bathrooms. And I'm sorry, I don't want cameras in my bathroom.
well, like I said, you can either be a part of the solution or you're going to be a part of the problem.
And like I said, the solution would not be to immediately ban them. And yes, it does take time. Everything takes time.
Yeah,
Laws
well,
take
Biden said right now that he's going to Biden's talking a lot about gun laws right now being restricted. By the way, everybody talks about the 1994 crime bill. Nobody talks about that he banned assault rifles in 1994. That's right. So if anybody's going to legitimately get these laws that should make a change, Biden's the man to do it. He already did it. So I'm really hoping that he starts bringing. I think he should ban assault rifles again. I think it should come back. I hope it comes back. It's going to be a good day when it does.
Not really, because too many people already have them. And they're not legally, and I'm talking about too many people who don't have them registered. I lived in Toledo, Ohio, and I went into this guy's house, and he had an M16 under his couch. Non-registered. So, creating gun laws to say you can't have guns is not going to stop that. Especially since there's way too many guns already here.
I think that the problem in America is people that are part of gun culture, because you're protecting the systems that are in place that are not working. Therefore, criminals are going to continue to get the gun. We have to do something different. Give me some ideas on a different standpoint. What we're doing now, what we've been doing, isn't working. You ever hear the definition of insanity?
Well, yeah, the definition of insanity is
It's
repeating the
doing
same
the
thing.
same thing and doing what? Thinking you're going to get a different result. Hello?
But that would be the same if I could say the same thing about immediately banning something. Because when we immediately ban something like prohibition, it goes haywire and people do it illegally anyway.
Now, when I
And
said to have a holistic approach, what I mean was when they did the prohibitions, was there a holistic approach, or was it just ban the guns? See, that's what people don't understand. It's not just banning the guns. You don't need a freaking gun
Yes, you do.
unless
You
you
100%.
are
You should have a firearm in your household.
okay.
I
So
wouldn't
if you
say
want to have a firearm in your household, that's fine. But having 10 or 15 of them, why?
What's wrong with that?
It's excessive.
So?
Okay, so the last person who had an excessive amount of guns went to a Vegas hotel and shot
That's
up
not the last person.
massively.
That's the last person that had an excessive amount of guns and the will to do something bad with them. One
That could be
rotten egg
anybody.
doesn't spoil the basket. It could be anybody, but and then
Yeah.
again, a weapon, a gun, a firearm is simply a tool. I can do the same thing with a knife.
Yeah, but you don't.
No, I don't, because I'm a mentally stable 25-year-old male. I don't want to just go harm random people.
But so there are tons of knives in this country. There's no massive knife attacks.
Oh, there actually is a lot of
Yeah,
knife
there are.
attacks. There's actually a lot.
there are knife
Well,
attacks.
tell me a story right now.
A story right now of a knife attack?
Yeah, like a
I mean-
massive knife attack.
Okay, I got you. My piece is right here.
Yeah.
Say less.
Yeah, I love
By
it.
the way,
Let's bring on.
how's your night going, Andrea?
It was Easter. I just love doing this, so it's ending pretty good. I was gonna go to a bar, and then I decided to have fun with you guys sober. So
You go to a bar on freaking Sunday?
listen, I'm going through a heartbreak. Okay.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. 3 weeks in. Hey, listen, I'm still breathing. By the way, why he's looking up that? Did anybody watch American Idol tonight? It's pretty good.
No, I consider American Idol to be like trash TV. You don't really watch that kind of stuff.
Listen, I was very entertained. There's some good country music out there right now. All right. Listen, Jeremy, if you want to come here and talk about your gun, listen, all you guys love your guns, but come here and let's talk about it.
So the first one that popped up was a Franklin Regional High School stabbing. The Franklin Regional High School stabbing was a mass stabbing that occurred on April 9th, 2014 at Franklin Regional High School in Murrysville, Pennsylvania. Alex Hribble, a 16-year-old sophomore at the school, used a pair of 8-inch kitchen knives to stab and slash 20 students and a single security guard. 4 students sustained life-threatening injuries, but all survived.
Okay, there you go. At the end, what was your last statement?
Oh yeah. Okay. So
What did you say?
We weren't talking about the effectiveness of the methods. We were talking about the mindset and the mindset and the will is the X factor here. It's not the weapon.
Okay.
It's the mindset to do that thing.
Okay, touche, but they survived. Now, look up today's event that happened. 3 mass shootings during Easter.
Okay, so what are guns designed to do by nature? What are guns?
Hello, hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Having a constructive conversation about guns. This is my hobby.
Yeah.
I know I'm weird. How are you doing? A constructive conversation about guns? This is my
Yeah,
hobby. I know I'm weird. How are you doing?
I
Happy
love
Easter.
debating.
Yeah, it's fun, right? When
Yeah,
it's respectful.
doing
Yeah,
good.
good.
I agree with you, host. I do believe that people
Rare?
people shouldn't have that many guns, but I do believe people should have the right to have guns for
Okay.
self-protection.
Okay.
Because as a woman, I believe that I need self-protection.
Right. Well, I love to tell you this right now. You probably already know this. You're a smart cookie. That women aren't perpetuating
2000.
really violence with the gun. It's massively dominated by men, and it's massively
Yeah.
dominated between boys between the ages, I believe, 14 to like 16. Like a young punks are doing it mostly. It's
Right.
not us. We're 57 women die a month from intimate partner deaths. So we're more likely to be a victim of the gun than perpetuate violence, which is good to know. Girl power.
Right.
In 2017, there were 97,183 deaths caused by mass stabbings.
Okay, but what is the survival rate?
Deaths.
No, yeah, he's saying,
Oh, you said deaths. Okay, yeah.
97,183
Well, listen.
deaths
Okay.
caused by mass
Now
stabbing.
do me a favor. Look up how much more we are leading in gun-related deaths than any rich country in the world.
well, see, but that's not a fair comparison because
It's going to look
America,
like we are the hare and not the tortoise.
but it's not a fair comparison because a lot
Why?
of other countries don't have access to firearms like we do. So
Okay,
obviously,
so access is a problem, right?
no.
Why?
Okay, because the willingness and the ability and the wantingness to actually commit violence is 100% on the person. Whatever you use to commit that violence doesn't matter. It's not about the tool, it's about the person committing the violence that is mentally unstable.
Well, don't they go hand in hand literally?
No.
Why wouldn't it go hand in hand? Because I've said this before. I've said this on TikTok. I said if people without guns, crazy people are using the guns, but if they didn't have guns, they'd just be crazy people.
No, if they didn't have guns, they would find other means to hurt themselves or others.
Yeah, you freaking bow and arrow, freaking sword.
Yeah, but
knives.
we have bow and arrows. We have knives. They don't use it. They use guns because guns are more effective.
Oh, 100%, absolutely.
But once you get rid of those, they'll just use something else. You're replacing one evil with another. That's all you're doing.
At this point in our country, more people are like 44,000 people died from gun-related deaths just last year. Okay, look at the archives.
Gun-related deaths. How many of those were suicides?
Well, you know what? That's I don't have this. I don't have my computer. I'm at my friend's house right now. You can look it up. But
buy a gun. I know how to make one out of a toilet paper tube, a piece of rubber band.
On TikTok, bro.
You know, and a few other things. All right. So even if you can't buy one, people are gonna make one. It's easy to make.
But listen, people
print
are going to listen.
Printer.
Pansexual poet. People are going to die. Okay, you can't stop the inevitable, but prevention and intervention should be imperative for us as a society because it is a right of of enjoyment. We should have the right to feel safe in public. We can't go to the malls. We can't go to the movies. Our kids don't feel safe at school. We can't go to the movies. Our kids don't feel safe at school. Literally, now I live next to New York. I live in Southern Connecticut. I was just talking about like now that I'm single, I want to go to Brooklyn because I'm tired of Manhattan because you guys are weird tourists, always doing the same thing and not paying attention where you're going. Lots of homelessness and it's freaking nasty in Manhattan. They don't tell you that. It kind of stinks, okay? And so I want to go to Brooklyn. I don't even want to go to Brooklyn anymore. Now I don't feel safe anymore. You can't go to Brooklyn? You can't go to Brooklyn, really? Why? Because somebody's going to pop off?
Okay, so
I don't even like being on the train either.
In 2019, right, there was just under 24,000 suicide by guns.
Okay.
And mass shootings and murder suicides equaled a total of just over 1,000. So
You know
by
about the pissy
those,
hallways? I'm sorry, I'm a kid right now. You know about the pissy hallways? You smell them? Oh, I can still smell it. What were you saying now?
so literally based on the statistics that are right in front of me, you are 24 times more likely to turn the gun on yourself than you are somebody else.
Exactly. I always tell people that.
So
Yeah.
so then once again, the argument is that
Sorry, pansexual.
guns
I
aren't the
accidentally
cause of
booted you off. I
violence.
was just trying to get Jeremy, who is pro gun, to talk. I accidentally booted you off. I'm sorry. Come back. What are you saying? And
Hello.
by the way, can I say this? Why am I so tall? 65. I really appreciate you doing the homework while we're here. Thank you. Go ahead.
Oh, the safest neighborhoods, according to the FBI, have the highest concentration of concealed carriers in the U.S. That's a fact. If you really want to eliminate gun deaths, you start by keeping felons in prison, because 68% of all homicides done by gun are done by felons, which, by the way,
It's funny how
can't
you
own them
mentioned
anyway.
homicide, Jeremy. Jeremy, I know your politics, so you already know what I'm going to say, right? You're going to mention homicide
Well,
specifically.
well,
Out
absolutely.
of
I'm
all
just
the ways to
throwing
die
facts at
via the
you.
gun, that's going to disproportionately hurt Black people, and maybe it should. I don't freaking know. At
Well,
this point, I don't
here's the
care.
thing.
I don't care what race you
Okay,
are.
so
If you have a gun
in,
and you're breaking the law, you should go to jail. I don't care.
well,
I would
I
agree
agree
with
with that, but here's the thing: 6% of the population represents the Black population of males in this country, but
Okay,
they're committing 52% of the murders.
52.
That's FBI
That's
statistics.
Jeremy. I can't let you do that.
That's
It's 30.
FBI statistics.
Jeremy,
52% of all murders are committed
friend,
by the Black population, and 90% of those are
Jeremy,
Black on Black crime.
Jeremy,
That's a real statistic. I'm not being
Jeremy.
racist. I'm just saying this is real.
But Jeremy, listen to me. You're not wrong about the due to proximity crime. I don't say Black on Black crime because my people have spoken and they don't like when you say that. So I'm going to say it appropriately, okay? Because I've grown from this.
But
That wait,
here's the
hold on,
problem, though. When you
hold on,
start
wait,
doing that,
Jeremy,
when
you were right
you're
about
lessening the burden. That's what
Jeremy.
you're doing when you do that.
You're right. You're right about proximity crime within the POC community, BIPOC community. But you're wrong about the numbers. It's 30%, which is double our
No,
population. It's not 50.
it's
It's 30. It's not 50. It's 30.
52% of all violent crime is done by the young Black men under 28 years old. 49% of all homicides are committed by Black men under the age of 28 years old.
Okay,
That's a fact. That's FBI statistic.
yes. Listen, I'm not saying that you're wrong on all of your statistics, but you're wrong about the homicide. It's 30%, not 50. But everything else you said, I don't disagree with.
So
I promise
I
you, if
don't
you
have
go look at the
percentages,
uniform
but I do
FBI
have raw
statistics
numbers.
right now, it'll tell you.
Yes, we've all seen the FBI statistics. Okay, we already
No,
know.
I don't have statistics. I have raw numbers.
Okay, can you go?
Okay,
Can you repeat?
so race of the victim, right? So basically, I'm gonna say like white on black, black on white, whatever
Okay.
it is, right? So Black on Black crimes, as far as homicide goes,
Okay.
is just under 2,600. I don't know what year this is. I can't. 2016. So it's a little outdated. Sorry.
Okay.
So 2,600 and 2016 was Black on Black, right? Just under 2,900 was white on white, and then white on black was only 243, and then black on white was 533.
Okay. So due to proximity, those
No,
numbers.
hang on a second. It's not due to proximity. If young Black men killed young white men at 543, that's double the number. And then if you figure out that there's 6% of the population to 40% of the population,
No, I get that.
there's a
Yeah, no,
big
I get.
chunk.
But you still have to take into
So
account that there's 70% of the population is white, and if
right.
you're trying to say that, and Candace Owens said this, and I'm not saying that she's wrong, but her approach is really freaking concerning. If you're trying to say that Black people a large amount rate, it's bad. The numbers are telling a narrative that's really concerning. However, Black people will mostly say, well, who perpetuated violence in this country since the beginning? So why is it okay? So we're killing each other.
But
Why?
that's a cop out. We're here to try to fix a problem. I'm not trying to coddle
Right,
anybody. I
but
mean,
if
it's
you want to,
I look at this like all Americans.
Jeremy, what you're going to create is a tit for tat, and you don't want to do that because 50 years ago things weren't looking that good. You know what I'm saying?
So do you know how?
What does
Okay,
that have to do
you're
with
against the NRA. I take it, right?
I'm sorry. What now?
You're against the NRA. I take it, right?
I mean, I am too.
No, I'm not
I'm
against the
pro-gun, but I'm
NRA.
against the NRA.
If the
NRA are a bunch of
NRA, I'm not
fucking
against the
idiots.
NRA if they actually practiced what they preached in their mission statement. Okay,
Okay,
I'm mad at
so
the, I'm not really mad at the NRA. I believe the NRA is much like an association meant to protect, our Constitution, things like that. What I'm mad about is the manufacturers who continue to create guns, knowing that we have more guns than people in this country, 398 million guns. Okay, unmarked, half of them. Forget, and now they're printing guns. There's too many guns. We don't need
okay,
more.
so there's a lot of misnomers that you just said there. First of all, if a gun manufacturer makes a gun, it is illegal for them not to be marked.
I believe
So
NRA
that
stands
is
for
complete
National
bullshit.
Rifle.
They can make lowers.
I think it's an association, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the National Rifle Association was started when they were trying to free black men and women before Harriet Tubman and all those people were part of it. And they actually got guns so they could protect themselves. The very premise of the Second Amendment in America has been exactly what it was used for, and that's to protect yourself from tyrannical government.
Okay,
Now,
yeah,
the
but it's
problem
never
that
happened.
we have.
Listen, the tyrannical government is an old ideology that people just won't.
Oh, hang on a second. Hang on a second. What about Ukraine? Literally, America is sending weapons over there to fight the biggest bad wolf in the world, which is Russia. And we're arming the people because another tyrannical government invaded their country.
What did you say?
So
Right now,
I actually pulled the numbers up, and it says there are estimated to be over 400 million guns in the United States between police, the military, and
Okay.
American civilians.
Okay.
So
Still too much.
how many guns do you think the military owns?
Well, a lot, but
I can
mean,
tell you right now.
are you sure
fucking
about
shit
that,
ton.
though?
An astronomical. I'm sorry. Excuse my language. A number so alarming that it's hard to fathom whenever you actually see it in person. So I'm gonna say at least 50% of those are owned by the military here
Now,
on the soil.
but you're talking about accounted for guns. How many guns aren't accounted for?
How can
a lot,
nobody
a lot, at least
Like
as
they're
many,
printing them,
at
that's
least
what
as
I'm saying.
many as that are registered. There's
Yeah.
hundreds of
How many are
millions of guns. We
unregistered?
can
How many
never
are
get rid of them.
unmarked?
Unmarked is different than unregistered. Unmarked means there's no identifying marks on the weapon.
So,
Unregistered,
the number's
it was,
probably a lot more substantial than that. If you really
yeah,
think,
I would say we got close to. I know this. We have trillions of rounds
right?
in this country. So our goal now is to stop gun violence, right?
I would hope so. Yeah.
Okay, so number one, 68% of the felons that are committing murders, we need to keep felons in longer. That's number one. Because if those people were in jail, guess what? 68% of the murders go away. 68%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, that might be a solution. Actually,
I don't care what color they are. I really don't.
Yeah,
you
but
be able
Jeremy,
to hurt
can I
somebody
say
else.
this? But it
Sure.
was prevention and intervention is imperative now. Black people have reasons to their rhyme. You know what I'm saying? Like
So you're
people,
saying they have
like Nan
reasons for
said.
committing murder?
Listen, Nan said, due to poverty, the numbers are bad, and there's not equality of treatment in this country.
Okay, equity is bullshit. Equity is a New World Order bullshit talking point. Equity is not real. Equity is this super progressive Klaus Schwab redistribution. Equality is right. Equity, no, equity is bullshit. Here's what they think. Under equality, they think that we should start however we want, and through our own, power, sweat, whatever, how we end up is determined by us. Equity means that we're all supposed to end at the same point. So when you start preaching equity to people, what they think is all these people have stole from me. And I've listened to Black Lives Matter people. I've listened to them, like Hawk Newsom. Hawk Newsom has said this. I've got it. I've recorded this.
Okay.
Reparations is looting. That's what Hawk Newsom said. I've got him multiple times saying that. Okay. That does what?
Listen,
it creates
a
chasm
listen.
Between people.
You're a trigger, but I'm just good with the Lord. Right now, it's Easter. Listen, who gives anybody the right to say how someone should be treated in society? Equity is a God-given right. You know, you don't get to treat people
No,
less than.
equality is a God-given right. Equity is not.
I
There's
would
a
agree
big
with that.
difference. We should all be
So,
treated the
So you're
same under the
saying, so
law.
you're saying that fairness is not a God-given right.
that's not what equity is. Or
That's not what
Okay,
equity
finish
is
me
at
what
all.
you
or
think
whatever you
equity
say.
is. What do you
Here,
think equity
here.
is?
Let's look up the exact definition. Make sure we're all on the same page here. Now,
Okay,
I
go
have a
ahead.
high school education. Can someone tell me how to spell this, please? That'd be fantastic.
I think it's EQUITY.
You got it.
EQUITY. EQITY. That's equity. That's all I know. Actually, it was a kid.
Hey, you had this guy in here that was saying that you were a moron. Can you please tell him that you're a realtor?
Thank you.
The quality of being fair and
I'm not even paying
impartial.
attention to it. There's people that can't have these conversations in a respectful manner, and I just ask you to excuse yourself, because really, we are doing something by having these conversations. You know, there might be somebody that's contemplating suicide that has a gun. There might be somebody with a kid that has a gun. I mean, there are more guns in this country than people, and they come to our show somehow, and this is education. You know, we got this lovely young man who's looking up actual statistics. Jeremy is bringing forth his knowledge and opinions, whether you like it or not, and we're having these uncomfortable conversations. So, are you telling me somebody can have these type of ideas that we don't agree with, but then, no harm is being done here? So either know how
My
to
feelings
be
are hurt,
an
actually.
adult, or just excuse yourself. But I find these conversations very enlightening. I really do.
I believe that, you know, everybody should have a fair shot, and I believe that starts under the law.
So
What I don't
equity is the
believe,
quality
Hold
of
on,
being
Jeremy.
fair and impartial.
Hold
I
on.
think that's. Go ahead.
So actually, Jeremy, I somewhat do agree with what the host said. She was actually right about what she was saying about equality and equity. So I've literally typed in equity versus equality, and I'm going to read it verbatim.
Thank you.
Equality means each individual or group of people is given the same resources or opportunities. Equity recognizes that each person has different circumstances and accolades. Accolades. The exact resources allocates. God damn, I am so stupid. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
And
Don't say you're stupid. Don't do that. Just
I have
keep
high
reading.
education. It's all good. Anyway,
It's okay.
allocates the exact resources and opportunities needed to reach an equal outcome. So basically, what the host is saying is that yes, we are all created equal, and that is the equality side. But on the equity side, is that typically speaking, what she's trying to get at is that, you know, the black community isn't given the same resources or opportunity to do the same as other cultures, or whatever you want to, you know, properly politically say it.
okay.
Yeah,
So let me
exactly.
address that
And
in real
those
speak.
of you that think systemic racism doesn't exist, I would have to tell you this: like, I'm so proud of our country. Like Jeremy said, I'm a full-time realtor, so I had to study these laws, these racist laws, in order to pass the test. And you would not believe that there were laws in place that really push people within the red lines. Redlining is illegal. They can't do it. You'll get. There's so much money involved. I wish somebody would redline me, because I'm going straight to the bank. Okay, so they don't do
let's
it.
talk about equity for a second in the school system.
But let me just say this
In
real quick.
California,
Jeremy,
sure.
let me just say this. They pushed a lot of black people in it through these people. Ask yourself, why do black people live so next? I believe if black people didn't live next to each other, we would see the crime rates change, because black people are killing each other due to proximity. They live next to each other, and 70% of people actually in this country kill people of the same race because they're close to you for some reason.
It's 90% in the black culture. It's 78%, I believe, in the white.
No, listen, you need to know who's dominating crime, and that's definitely white people, not because that they're more violent, because there's more of them.
Well, hang on a second. No. This is where I think people get it wrong.
There's
when
70%
I say
of white people
that
here,
black men commit 49% of the homicides, and if you want to look that up on the computer, you can. It's not 49% proportional to their group of how many there are in the population. They commit 49% of the total amount of all homicides. So
Okay,
6% of the
but
population
listen, if you want to bring up
versus
Black
36.
people's, inequities or issues, why don't you talk about, because you're a white man, why don't you talk about why so many white men are killing themselves? Look at the statistics with
Okay,
suicide
I'll
You
do
want
rates
to know
that.
why?
via the
You want to know
gun.
why white men are statistically speaking more likely to kill themselves than anybody else?
Why?
And this is gonna sound horrible to say, so please don't get offended. It's
I'm
because
not.
in today's society, I am meant to feel guilty simply because I am white.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Because that's
And
the truth.
That is one thing that I will say.
that, you know what?
And 22
there's
veterans a
some
day
truth
kill
to that,
themselves.
and that's horrible. But listen, instead of having this binary good versus bad, or instead of thinking, oh, I'm supposed to feel horrible, you should just be an ally. Now, couldn't you twist that around and become a supporter of a marginalized group? So okay, so maybe your
I
ancestors,
support all people, but I
no,
don't support
Jeremy,
special treatment, and that's
I
what
have to
equity
tell you,
provides.
your rhetoric really continues on the
I'll give you an
systemic
example.
issues.
I'm trying to talk about the truth here. So in California, they just passed a law. It's an equity law within schools that white kids can't do the same things as black kids. So black kids could do things that are wrong, and they have a different set of rules and standards for them because of equity. Because, well, they really don't know how to behave themselves because they come from this culture. That's bullshit. You got to say
Okay.
that's bullshit. Kids in general.
I don't agree with
have the
that. I don't
same
know
rules.
who okayed that, but okay.
So that's where equity's leading. So you look and you see the movement right now, and they're saying this crime shouldn't be prosecuted to this person of color from this community because they've had a harder time. So we should have different rules for robbery for them than we should for white. And that's where equity's headed. That is not what you're talking about. I know that, but
Can I
equity.
interject here, Jeremy?
Let me just say this in the comments before you go on, Georgie, and welcome back. Somebody said that in Georgia, everyone, Craig0127 said everyone in Georgia can carry a gun now, no permit. That's ridiculous. Go ahead.
That's not even that law. I used to live in Georgia. It's if you are 21. So one of the laws is if you are 21 years old with a military ID, you can conceal carry without having a permit. The other one is that if you are 21,
I've heard that to be true.
And the other one is that I'm pretty sure it's a more recently passed law is that if you are 21 with a valid driver's license, a valid in-state driver's license, you can conceal carry without a permit. Those
okay, but that's
ridiculous.
But you have to admit that's ridiculous to get a permit. That's such a simple thing to do.
I think that it's ridiculous to get a permit to conceal carry. I think it's constitutional.
I think so too. It doesn't say in the Constitution that it shall not be infringed until you get a permit. It just says it shall not be infringed. And when I was going to school, now I'm 43, so I'm a little bit older.
Yo, Jeremy, you
but
sound like shit right now.
We had guns in our trucks. They actually had guns in school, and they taught us gun safety. We didn't have school shootings back when I was in high school. We didn't have that problem. So there's some sort of societal decay that's going on right now that we're not dealing with our children because it's young kids of all colors that are doing the shootings. So we have a societal decay right now, and until we can find that out, we can't really do anything about guns because there's so many of them here. We could never get them off the street. And here's the thing: every single person.
I'm a Girl Scout. A Girl Scout never says never.
Well, here's the thing: you can't legislate people that don't follow laws. It's just that simple.
I want to interject and back up on something that Jeremy said a moment ago regarding I think the other guy above Jeremy, I can't think of his name, said something feeling about guilty about being white. Just for disclosure, I tend to lean more conservative. Andrea knows.
Yes.
But
it's okay.
In terms of what Jeremy is saying, I would have to disagree with you, Jeremy, because I don't think I'm just there for being a person of color in this country. Not often laws aren't distributed when it comes to criminal laws or whatever. So you and I possibly can commit the same crime. It is likely for me as a person of color to get a harsher sentence than you would.
That's true.
For the same crime. And so I agree with you when we say we should make laws where someone gets more favor than the other because you're black to get a pass. But I think what we need to get to a point to where we distribute the law equally. And that's where we're failing in this country, is we're not distributing the law equally. You and I are committing the same crime. I get a different sentence for the same thing. So I think there's laws for the rich, there's laws for the poor, there's laws for the have, there's laws for the have not. We're all on the same law, but how it's distributed is not fair.
Right, and also,
And
Jeremy,
you're
you're
absolutely
forgetting
right about that.
when Jeremy is talking about Black people doing a lot of crime via the statistics, you're not bringing up that these are arrests, and you're not bringing up the mere fact that Black people are most exonerated out of any other race. So just because they were arrested doesn't mean that they are convicted, and it doesn't mean they even perpetuated the crime.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. So to be exonerated, most of the time people are not in a financial position to do it themselves.
Okay.
So there's different groups out there that help do that, right? Do you know how many cases of white men they took on last year? Less than 1% of their total caseload. So of course there's going to be more people of color exonerated. I'm not saying our justice system, I'm not a fan of our justice system, and he's exactly right. People of color do get sentenced more harshly. And a lot of that has to do with literally Biden and the Crime Act that was done in the 90s, literally. And
Okay,
hope you
so I
guys-
studied the 1994 crime bill for fun, year 2020.
You
Explain.
Awesome.
know what?
Okay.
I don't like Biden's crime bill. I think it was crap what he did, but I also
Okay,
think
but
there is a
Georgie,
bias.
what I can't do is do
Um,
misinformation. I love you, but a lot of people think like this, like Jeremy, who I respect. But let me tell you this: it was not the Joe Biden bill; it was the Clinton crime bill, and it was revised by the Republican Party, and the Black Caucus supported it because the crime rates were running rapid and upticked. So in order for Clinton to get votes from the right, would you need that? I don't know if you guys realize that. He had to make a stricter reform. There were revisions, and in fact, Joe Biden called it the what? What did Joe Biden call the bill? 1994 crime bill. Give me 3 seconds. One,
I
two,
honestly don't
three.
know.
He called it the wacko bill. He did not support it.
Okay,
Well,
so
I
I actually have the numbers right here. But
Yeah,
back to
let's
what
hear it.
you guys talking about 3 minutes ago. So total arrests. All right. So the total arrests and once again these are all 2016. I'm sorry, they're kind of outdated. So the offenses charged, the total was 8.4 million in 2016. Right. Of that, 5.8 million were white and 2.2 million were Black or African American. So I'm going to go and say that your argument that the Black population is over policed, these statistics right here literally say that a white person is over twice as likely to be arrested than a Black person.
I think
Are
you're
you
looking at
realizing that
statistics,
there's
but
more
I can
white
tell
people
you
than Black
from
people?
experience, it's different living it than it is reading it. And
Okay.
so
I mean, I understand living it. I totally get that.
yeah.
But, you know, like these numbers on my screen are an accumulation of all those lived experiences documented. So
Yeah, but are you understanding that the population of whites is more than the population of Blacks?
That's what Jeremy's
Right,
saying,
but
man.
Right. So Andrea, when I was on this show before, me and you agreed that in some areas maybe where they were saying it was racist because they were over policed, but that's where all the crime was happening. You said, okay, well, we need the police presence there. And
Yeah, we
what
do.
happens is there's this two-sided argument that, okay, so if they're there too much, if they're there more there than in a white neighborhood, let's say, then it's racist because they're being over policed. But on the same side of that, if more crime is happening there, why aren't the police there? And the reason is because they feel like they're being targeted for being racist, but they're not there because of the color of people's skin. They're there because of what's happening to, I mean, how many folks do you know that are in bad situations that have no voice and they have to depend on the police? Well, they get shut out because they don't go there because they're called racist and they're over policing.
But do you think racism doesn't exist?
No, racism.
No, absolutely. You'd be an idiot to think it doesn't
exist.
exist.
It's a horrible thing.
Okay, so what you guys are understanding, okay, let me tell you this, and maybe you are understanding, maybe I just need to bring you forth towards the water to drink it. Like, for instance, Chicago, people say that Chicago has some of the strictest gun laws. yet the homicide is freaking ridiculous. It's not the top tier out of all the cities in this country, but it's up there. Why are they being allowed to continue to crime? Well, yes, I do believe the police are overwhelmed. I absolutely believe the police are overwhelmed. But what are they doing in the community to fix it on a social standpoint, on an economical standpoint? People aren't just going to be criminals. People are trying to survive. And I can tell you this as a realtor, I've been in these high gun violence areas. And one thing I've noticed is the properties. And you're an agent as well as an investor. A lot of these areas where there's lots of gun violence, it's slums. These are worn down properties. These aren't investment properties where people flip them. These are investment properties where people buy them to make money off the poor.
Well, I agree with you on that,
like
Andrew. But here's the thing: people people want convenient answers, and the thing is this isn't convenient.
What I'm saying
if
is,
you want to draw a statistical line,
Jeremy, if you bring forth, okay, listen. White people dominate every institution in this country, okay? And because racism still exists, I would promote Black people to do what Asian people have done in this country, and that is to become independent, to work for yourself. If we get more,
why do they do that?
Isn't that what every American
why do they do that?
Should strive to do? Is to work for themselves and be like their own boss? Isn't that kind of
like not necessarily? Because let me tell you something. I might work for myself right now, but there was a lot of things that I learned when I worked at the Marriott front desk. There's a lot of
Asians have the highest rate of fathers in the home, and they're also the most economically prevailing race in America. They have the least suicide rate in America, not other Asian countries. You look statistically at Asians, in every category they're doing well. And if you take these other groups of people, how about this? Young adults in prison, 85% of them come from fatherless homes. But it's inconvenient because single mothers don't like hearing that a mother or a father has to be there. So what they say, that has nothing to do with it. Even though statistically you can follow the graph, and fatherless homes promote poverty, they promote violence.
Well, guess what? My white fiance gave me money to leave with my children. So white men are no different.
Gave you? What do you mean by that?
That's the only difference, is that
I wasn't saying black because black men. I'm just saying
takes care of his kids. But listen, he like, no matter what, like, he's gone, and I have a fatherless home at this moment, but I'm financially secure because they pay. I have 2 baby fathers.
But see, that's not it. Men are not a wallet. Men provide certain things and structure for children.
The man does not have to be there.
He does.
But they need to take financial responsibility.
No. See, women can't raise kids.
Let me tell you guys something. I am a single mother now, recently, 3 weeks in, and I bought myself a Tempur-Pedic bed. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm feeling lonely. I miss my cuddles. I just want to freaking meet a guy. And I was like, I'm not going to bring nobody my $4,000 Tempur-Pedic bed. Like, I worked hard for this bed. Okay.
But that doesn't have shit or shine all to do with raising kids.
In my house. I don't want him to come in my life and jack it up. So you don't need a man in the home. My kids are very well taken care of. Everybody's doing well. So you don't need a man in the home. My kids are very well taken care of. Everybody's doing well. But they pay.
A woman in here just said that men are supposed to be protectors and providers.
But I mean, I think a double parent household is good, but I don't think it necessarily provides a level of stability. But I don't think it's the end all and get all, because you have people that are two-parent households and the dad is horrible or the mom is horrible. So to say that it's
I would challenge both of you. I would challenge both of you, honestly, to go do the statistics. Harvard has a bunch of studies on it. And every time these reports come out, it says very plainly that when 2 parents are in the home, that it's needed. And Harvard has done studies on the psychological effects on children.
But you're
and women cannot do what men do.
You're making it seem like white men are the best fathers on earth.
Wait. Okay? I never said anything about color. I was talking about fatherless homes, because guess what?
Now, do me a favor.
White, Black, Asian, they're all the same. The statistics on children are the same in any color when it comes to fatherless homes.
Jeremy, listen. Why am I so tall, 65? Look at the statistics. See who's dominating rape. See who's dominating alcohol-related driving arrests. See who's dominating those.
Which one?
Oh, I'm sure it's white people.
Statistics.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
acting
look up-
like
look up
I'm
drink
like
driving-
this protector
look up
of white people, and I'm
drinking,
not. I'm
driving
protector of
related-
Americans.
Look up drinking-related arrests. Tell me the
I'm
rate
sure.
on that. Because I don't feel safe on the 95.
German and Scandinavian people drink for a living. I mean, I know Irish do too. I come from it. I know.
So I'm not trying to defend any side here because I agree with some things that the host is saying and I agree with some things that Jeremy is saying, and then George is just kind of trying to get his 2 cents in where he can. But
go Georgie,
I'm being nice today.
I don't like nice. No,
so
you don't know knock on.
Everybody trying to be nice.
Your argument originally is that the black population is over policed, right? And then our counter argument was that they're not, because statistically speaking, more white people are arrested for literally every crime on this list. Sometimes the numbers are very large, sometimes the numbers are very little.
Yeah.
So just remember that.
What's the conviction rate? Let's talk about. You're saying arrested. Let's talk about versus conviction.
Okay, I'll look that up right now.
Yeah.
See, conviction rates are hard to get because what they do is they statistically do this in years, and a lot of these trials take more than 1 year. So it's very hard to get that data because I've tried to get it, and the FBI doesn't provide it. You almost have to go to a state Department of Justice level.
Mm-hmm. But listen, I think it's very, very toxic to blame any race as an entirety due to crime. I think that's not really productive. Okay, so I think you should see.
I'll tell you why.
Boom! I got it right here. I got it right here, bro. So this is a data source from 2021. Black Americans are incarcerated in state prisons at nearly 5 times the rate of white Americans. Boom. And the numbers right here, figure 1, average rate of black, Latina, and white imprisonment per 100,000. All right, so these are per 100,000. I'm not going to do the math because that's very complicated for me. So black, right, 1,240 per 100,000. Latina, 349 per 100,000. And then white, 261 per 100,000. So I think if we were to do the math here, I think it's something like 0.02% of whites, 0.03 of Latina, and then 0.12 of black per 100,000 are actually convicted based on the race category. Sorry, freaking hard to get that shit out.
Listen, you guys know what he meant. Latino, you know what he meant.
Yeah. But I want to bring up the whole erase thing because you just made a good point. How statistically white people are far, far more in DUIs. Well, when you pointed out statistically, you could say, okay, what is going on in their culture that is producing this effect? Why are
Hold on, Jeremy. It's not fair. You said that the host was doing everything. Societal issues as a cop out earlier. That is a cop out, my friend. You cannot say that. That is a cop out.
No. What I'm saying is very simple. I come from a little town in Wisconsin that's almost all Norwegian.
Don't you know?
Literally, most of these people up there drink for a living. Okay, we go to work and you hit the bar afterwards. Okay, and when you look at it like that, you can say, well, culturally, this is what's wrong in that area. This is how we fix that problem. Does it kind of rub people the wrong way and make their feelings hurt? Well, absolutely. But culturally, we are identifying factors that contribute to other people getting killed in car crashes and things like that. So it's effective using a cultural standard like that, at least to come up with the identifiers that are actually causing the problem. The thing that I think
the identifier in that situation would be people going to work and then drinking after work. I would say, hey man, grab the beer to go, brother. Go home, sit on your motherfucking couch, and drink fucking beer. Because I don't know y'all.
Yeah, if you knew that
I'm
first.
willing to bet money that I work a lot.
But what is the solution? Okay, we've chewed up the idea that white people get this, black people get this, white get this, but we've never come up with a solution. So what is the solution? You guys are white. I don't know what it's like to be a white male in America. I can give you my perception of what it's like to be a white male.
You want my solution, brother?
Like you can give me.
I can tell you this.
Well, hold on,
I can
Jeremy.
tell you
Hold on,
this.
Jeremy. You've done a lot of talking
Sure.
here, brother. Let me
Go
get
for it.
all right. So, Georgie, this is my solution to end the whole entire like racism problem, right? Morgan Freeman had the best motherfucking quote I've ever heard.
Okay.
He said, "If you want to stop racism, stop talking about it. Just stop talking
No,
about
that
it."
protects it.
No,
I
because if you
believe in
Read
racism
White
because we're
Fragility.
never
saying
let.
like
I'm
racist
one
shit,
that I don't call everything racism. Every time something happens to me and it's a white person, I don't go, it's because they're racist. It's just the ignorant ass person who didn't like me, right? So I don't agree that's because you're not talking about it that it's going to end it, because there's just going to be people that innately are going to be racist. And then there's racial
kill
bias.
'em.
You have your perception of me and I have
shit.
my perception of you. My question is related to the other issues we're talking
It's a
about.
nice idea, but it's not going to work. You guys just didn't read any societal books. Unfortunately, I really challenge you to read the book called White Fragility, my favorite society change book. If you don't say it, then you protect it. If you see something, you say something. And there's a reason behind that, because you're trying to prevent and intervene before it keeps popping off. If we don't say anything, let me tell you something. There are things that we don't talk about. Usually those things that we keep locked in our closets that are probably really bad.
Like what?
You got to talk about it.
See, somebody said,
I'm
"Why
just
are these
curious.
white?"
I'm sorry.
That's the
I'm not
problem
trying to
that I
poke
have.
holes.
You know you got some
I
skeletons
think
in your
we have
closet.
to have conversations,
No.
constructive conversations. I think what has happened and we're seeing now is we're having a lot of people use it to inflame situations that have
Okay.
nothing to do with race. So I think it's being overused right now.
Yes.
But I think we have to have a constructive conversation. Those are needed, but you can't ignore it and act like it doesn't exist.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
it
So
does, and it always will.
my solution will be that if you are convicted of a racially motivated crime, right, whether it be in the slightest or what, that whatever the fucking max penalty is for that specific crime, whether it be homicide, aggravated assault, whatever, is now like exaggerated by 3. So if you were supposed to do 3 years in prison for doing a white on black racially motivated crime, you now do 9 years in prison.
Guess what? Joe Biden already did that. Joe Biden just made a federal law ban against, like, if you do anything racially motivated crime, it's now a federal law. Joe Biden is coming through. You guys need to give him a little bit more credit.
I'm not the biggest fan of Joe Biden by any means, but
Yeah.
I actually very much agree with that. I feel like that is definitely a step in the correct direction to stop racism, or at least racially motivated crimes, which is
he just did
honestly
that.
like the ugly,
the hate
the uglier
crime
side
bill.
of racism.
Thank you, Dolly, Lillian, too. The hate crime bill. Joe Biden's signature John Hancock is on that. Come on.
Well, I came on here to talk about the Second Amendment, and I've got the perfect show
I'm
for
always, that's what we're here for, to talk about the Second Amendment. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm gonna stay strong in my opinion on the topic of the guns. I think we need a extreme wake up call. America, we are not lowering our gun violence deaths. And if it was up to me and I could press a button, I would ban it until you guys get your act together. And listen, unfortunately, criminals are messing it up for you guys.
I think it's Shanghai right now, or Singapore, that has all of their citizens locked in their house and your people screaming out of the windows and stuff like that. So in that instance, if the citizens of that country had guns, they would be able to defend themselves against the government, and that wouldn't happen. So I think guns have a place.
Georgie.
I'm leaving, host. Hey.
Okay, all right.
Bye.
You're
I'm
awesome.
gonna play my nerdy games. All right.
You know what
you're
Have fun.
Bye. What a awesome, smart kid. I love that he didn't agree with everything I said, but he doesn't have to, and he also brought his laptop, so I like that. But at this point, if I felt that our government was locked down for the betterment of everyone, and we were going to sweep the streets so that people can stop dying, especially disproportionately in Chicago and predominant African American towns, I would be happy to be locked away. Listen, we all quarantined, we all survived. I don't think having a lockdown for the right reasons is the worst thing in the world.
They're not locked
do you
down.
know that?
But Georgie,
they're actually physically locking them in their houses.
Yeah, but
they're
Georgie, all they have to do
the
is
number
get
one
out.
No, they're locked inside. They're locking from the exterior, locking them inside. They're not
Yes.
saying you're on a
So,
lockdown.
do you think they don't have guns?
No,
Really?
it's illegal.
You know, my thing is simply this. Everybody I know owns guns. Everybody, including me. I've got probably 100 of them. I've never
That's
shot
too
anybody. You know, people say that, but let me ask you this. How many different pieces of makeup do you carry with you?
Yeah, but I'm not using it on people.
Well, hang on a second. I'm not using mine that way either.
Which is probably
I'm using it for myself also.
Going to do because you statistically.
No, you can't equate those two things as the same.
Like,
why can't you? Because mine are what I want to have. What you want to have, and we're both guaranteed those things through the Constitution. My rights should not be affected by somebody breaking the law.
Okay, but listen to me, Jeremy. Please listen to me when I tell you this. As somebody that studies gun control and loves talking to you guys on a day-to-day basis, I am telling you that the gun affects people in different races, in different demographics, differently. You are a white male in this country, okay, with over 100 guns, you said. I am telling you that your increase of safety within yourself, white men in this country are dominating suicide with their own guns.
But I'm not suicidal.
Guess what?
And FBI statistics point out that the safest neighborhoods in America are the ones with the highest concentration of concealed carry. That means the more guns, the safer.
Jeremy, I'm not saying that you're suicidal, and I'm not questioning your mentality. What I'm saying is you're high risk because you have so many guns. That, to me, is a red flag. This is why I like red flag laws, because if you have an excessiveness of guns, you are overcompensating for something. What do you need?
You're not overcompensating for anything.
You're not part of the Army.
I got 3. Well, I don't have to be. You see, that's the great thing about America and the Second Amendment is I can do whatever I want. Here's what I have.
Well, you can't do whatever you want, because that's just like you're saying, well, you can go down the street and shoot somebody and there's no consequences for your actions. So you can't do whatever you want.
Who said that you could do whatever you want?
You just said that.
No. It's as long as I'm within the law and I'm lawful, I can do whatever I want.
Excessiveness should be against the law, is what I'm saying.
Okay, if that's true, then we have about 150 million people that are fat because they're excessively eating, and the number one
but are they
killer
massively killing other people? They're going to be more harmful.
No. It's heart disease. So McDonald's is killing people. I mean, come on.
Yeah, actually, McDonald's is killing people. Actually,
just because you don't agree with my rights doesn't mean that
they're legally getting guns. I think the issues are primarily with people who illegally have guns. So the conversation that we should be having is how do we prevent more people that should not have guns?
Why are you trying to steer our
Yes, I agree with that. And what you do is you take felons and keep them in jail longer, or you implement the death penalty. And if you commit murder, every single person that commits murder gets one fair trial, and then you execute them. And then guess what? 60% of homicides are gone.
Jeremy,
let's be clear about something too. I mean, it's not like how are the felons getting the guns? I mean, when they get out, I mean, they're just not going to, walk to a store and they're getting the guns. How are they getting them?
They're buying them off the streets.
That are buying it.
Right. So they're buying them from legal gun owners, so people who can actually get the guns. So how do we stop those people? What we're saying is, go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, before the Brady bill, all these guns didn't have to be registered. Okay.
Okay.
So all those guns, and we're talking 100 million plus guns, are all on the streets. They're not registered, and it's not illegal for me to sell a gun to somebody else. Also, what you see is a lot of crime where people have stolen guns. There's literally millions of stolen guns on the books that they just can't find, and they never will find because their numbers have scratched off. Never. They can't tell what it is.
That's why I believe in sweeping the streets. Sorry, not sorry.
See, it'll never happen because people like me, I would literally go to war. I would go to war with anybody that came to take my guns. And that's millions of Americans. Guess what? More than 9 million people is the biggest standing army in the world. And that's what America is. So,
Jeremy, I'm letting you know right now, you need a leash.
No. I'm telling you, there are millions of people in America that will not give up.
Unleashed. You're just by your name, I would say.
Right. So
that it's
based
concerning
on
that
what
you have
you're
100
saying,
guns.
Jeremy, is that so there are people in this country who are they're going to hold on to their gun for dear life. They're going to go to war for their guns,
Yeah.
but there are people
So
who
be
will
it. It's
infringe
gonna be
on
World
that
War
will
III to
infringe
me.
on my First Amendment right.
It'll be
So
Civil War
that's
III.
I don't
okay
infringe on
because
anybody's First
Dude,
Amendment. You can say
but I'm
whatever
not
you
saying
want.
that. I'm saying the same people that you're stating are the same people who will infringe on my First Amendment right.
Who would ever?
So
Who?
the same ones you're saying, well, they're going to be gung
Whoa,
ho
whoa,
about
whoa.
their guns
What do you
are
mean?
the same ones that will
Who would
infringe on
say
my
that?
rights.
Who would say that?
What do you
I don't know
What do
anybody
you mean?
that
Who was?
owns a gun that would say you can't say that.
Oh, okay, maybe no. Now
Oh,
I
there's a lot of
understand.
people. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, there are people who go around and say, well, you can't say Black Lives Matter. Why are you saying racism exists? I mean, there are a lot of people who go around and say that. It's my First Amendment to say that racism exists.
It's
That
bullshit.
Black
if
lives
people
do
say that
matter.
to you, okay? Because I
Who
die
doesn't
for
say
the
that?
First Amendment too. I would, and for your right to say whatever you want, I don't care. I would stand up for you.
Well,
Not that I have to agree with
you are
what
the
you're
first
saying,
of
but I would
many.
stand up for your right to say. But you know, people use the comment all the time. They say, "Well, you couldn't fight off the government with your guns," and
No.
you've heard that because people say, "Well, the Second Amendment was written a long time ago." But here's the thing: Ukraine right now is fighting off Russia because America is arming the citizens of their country.
How's that working out for them?
Guess what? Afghanistan used weapons to fight off Russia and America. We were there 20 years and didn't win. By a bunch of people who became
let's not give out the notation that Ukraine is winning this war.
Well, it was the reason we shouldn't have been there in the first place, but
They're not really
we're not going to have that
Well,
conversation.
I agree. Right.
How many of you guys can say that Ukraine is winning in the war? Doesn't look so good for them.
No, but there's a lot of families getting out.
Dude, they're dying, okay?
They are. But you know what? Where I'm from in the Ozarks, there's no way in hell that a government could come here and win because every house has 100 guns, every vehicle. I had a police officer tell me 95% of all vehicles in Missouri have guns in them. That's
excessive. That's a lot. That's a problem.
That's a state. That's not a problem. Because the only place we have high murder rates in Missouri is St. Louis and Kansas City. That's it. None of the other rural areas have high murder rates. None of them. So why is that?
So, but I want to ask you a question because I mean, and Andrea knows where I am when it comes down to guns. I have guns, but I really want you to explain. I want you to explain to me, Jeremy, why is it that you need 100 guns? What is the purpose? I mean, even me, I have 3, and that's all. That's good enough. That's perfect. I don't understand why do you need 100?
Okay,
I just want to know that logically.
Sure. First of all, I don't need that many. I want that many. Second of all, I grew up, it was like a family tradition. We would go shoot guns. We have a really good time. My relative is an FFL owner. He has a license. So, I mean, we shoot everything. We do everything.
I mean, I don't think the amount of guns someone has increases the probability that they're going to go out and kill someone. I mean, whether you have
absolutely not.
It's the same. So I don't think the number of guns that someone has is an issue. If they're going to kill someone. Yeah.
And my wife has 40 pairs of shoes. Okay, does she need 40 pairs of shoes? No.
Yeah,
but she wants 40 pairs of shoes. And those shoes don't do anything different to anybody else than my guns do. My guns have never hurt one person. And if somebody gets butthurt because of their feelings against them, well, they can kiss my ass because it's my choice to own them. Just like if somebody got butthurt because my wife had so many shoes. Who cares? America is not about what you think that I should have. It's what I want. And that as long as I'm being lawful.
So what if somebody wants meth?
That's not lawful. I just said as long as I'm within the law, I'm lawful.
And they decide to have as much meth as they want in their house. Is that okay? What if they start selling it?
Oh,
could they?
It's not lawful.
So I mean,
if it was lawful,
are you suggesting that we reduce the amount of guns that people have, or are you suggesting that we just eradicate them altogether where no one has any guns?
I think
she wants to eradicate them altogether.
I think eradication is imperative. I think that at this point, if we looked at our gun archives, like we on a day-to-day basis, like we watch the weather, like instead of having a weatherman, we need like a gun person. Like we need a gunman that that
Because
I have a
I think
question for you, Andrea.
the Constitution
90%
and
of
laws
all.
are written
Let
to
me.
tell
Can
the
I finish real
government
quick?
what our
Because
rights are, not for the government. It's to control the government, and not for the government to tell us what our rights are. So
what?
Yes.
Okay, Georgie, what does that say about a country that talks down on their leader and also talks down on their government and police? Are
Our
we
government has been
ungovernable?
screwing us for years.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Let's be clear. Georgie, and I think you just said it was that
This is
it is
anarchy.
for people to protect themselves from the government. I mean, well, let's look at what just happened. I mean, and I don't care when we go back to
I didn't
the
say it's
insurrection.
protecting themselves from the government. I didn't say what I did. I said the laws are written to the government what our rights are. It is to control the government. And so that the government is not controlling us. That's what laws are written for. So for us to go back and tell the government to now start eradicating laws that we're giving them control over us, and we're not controlling the government.
Yeah, but guess what? If it was the point to have a gun, to have for a tyrannical government, that's one thing. But the problem is this: is that society has abused their constitutional rights with their gun, and now believe that it's their
Certain people.
constitutional right to have a gun because they're scared, because they're in fear. That is not the reason why to have a gun. If you were going to have a gun, 100 guns, to say, listen, if there's ever a tyrannical government, I can put 100 guns in 100 hands, and we could fight off the government. That is one thing, but that is not the reason why you have your gun. Okay, you know, Jeremy, you've talked a lot of negative things about Black people. And
I'm not talking about Black people. I'm talking about geographical areas. I mean, think about it.
I've never heard you say anything positive about Black people. And you have 100 guns, and you're a white man in this country.
Hang on a second. The last time we talked, I was literally saying, why don't people follow Ben Carson, the most brilliant man we have in America? And yet culturally, it's not acceptable to look at him like he's awesome because, I've heard him called a coon. I've heard him called many different things by other Black people because he's not culturally acceptable. And until
listen, is being culturally unacceptable somebody who is having an opportunity by spewing out racist rhetoric and therefore
they do already
gaining population via the white race by spewing out hateful rhetoric and propaganda that's hurting other people, so therefore he's benefiting because he's doing the white supremacy work. Oh, Candace Owens is doing it. Ben is doing it. A lot of people are doing it.
But here's the thing. This is you were talking about this earlier, Andrea. You said that we have to have these uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, we do.
So when you bring up an uncomfortable conversation, people start getting butthurt and they're like, "Oh, but you're talking about the Black community." And I'm sitting here thinking, "Okay, hang on a second. 49% of the murders are committed by the Black community. What's wrong in that community?" And you're saying, no, we can't have that conversation because you can't bring.
I never said that we couldn't have those conversations. I think it's good that we have those conversations. But you need to know who you're talking to, and you need to know your approach. And what are you doing? Are you spilling out rhetoric, or are you bringing forth awareness? See, I understand that what you said is not offensive. I did read the statistics, and I do know that it is happening at high rates. And unfortunately, a lot of Black people come here, my people, and say, well, but this is why. So when you don't look at the whole approach, like why are these people killing each other at high rates due to proximity? Well, I would have to challenge you, instead of judging them for their actions, why don't you look at the proximity and see what is being done?
What does proximity got to do with it? I'm pretty close to my neighbors. Okay. The proximity doesn't have anything to do with it. People can live next to people just fine.
Oh, it does.
The cultural
proximity
issues
has everything to do with it.
I'm sorry, and I'm fairly conservative, but I think a lot of things you're saying is just based upon kind of lack of experience.
No, it's not. It's plain as day. Like, let me give you an example. You have the Bloods and Crips. And the Bloods and Crips are murdering each other at alarming rates.
Typically, I'm on the opposite spectrum than Andrea, but I do agree with her on this. People are likely to commit a crime against someone that they're likely within the same proximity. So when you say Black on Black crime, it almost sounds as if we're just going out and intentionally killing each other when it's likely they're in the same neighborhood.
No, that's the way you're taking what I'm saying, but that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying
that's what you said. That's what it sounds
Jeremy,
like.
explain white flight.
Well, what I'm saying, okay, let me ask you this simply. Very simply this.
Jeremy,
30% of
explain,
America is white.
unleash Jeremy.
Yes.
Explain white flight.
White flight. I don't know what white flight is.
Well, that's a problem because white flight is a real thing where if a certain amount of black people move in a certain proximity, guess what they'll do?
No, they're not leaving because black people are there. They're leaving because of crime statistics and things happening.
Okay.
Because I'll give you an example. If I'm sitting in my neighborhood and families move in and like let's say they're gangbanging, okay? Why would I have my family around that? That's not racist. I'm providing for my family and keeping them safe.
Who's
So do you think all
gangbanging?
black people are you think all black people are part of a gang?
No. But I lived. Okay, do you know where Beloit,
TK
Wisconsin is? It's like little Chicago.
Georgie's an investor.
Okay, this is my experience.
A realtor, and I'm a realtor. Really?
Right. So I don't know when you say, because when you say that, it makes no sense to me. You said gang, like when the gangbangers move in. Who are the gangbangers? That's what I want to know. Like when you say that, it was just blanket statement.
Okay, I can see what you're saying there, and I didn't mean black people. I was actually talking about the bad parts of the black community. That's what I'm talking about. I lived in Beloit. Okay. It was little Chicago. When people had warrants in Chicago, they would come to Beloit.
They do 70% of all the crime.
Jeremy, you know what I think you suffer from, and I'm just going to say it. I don't think you're racist at all. I do not think you're racist. I think you have biases that you're unaware of.
Maybe I do, but my oldest daughter is half black. Okay, I don't claim to know everything because I've never lived in those areas, but I can say this very plainly: black men are 6% of the population. White men are 32% of the population. The 6%, okay, and I can't dissect them any further than that because I'm talking about totalities here in America. Those 6% commit 49% of the total amount of homicides.
It's 30, but okay. All right.
No,
I keep telling you it's 30.
Okay,
it's not 40 something. It's 30, and you're not understanding that those are arrest numbers, and that we are the most exonerated. They're not convictions.
Yeah, but didn't you hear what he said?
Listen, unleashed Jeremy. Listen, I'm an African American person, and I will never protect violence. So I'm telling you, it's an issue. Gangs, culture is something that's normalized within the black community. It's in our music, it's in our movies, and we're really desensitized to it. When people talk about Crips or Bloods or something like that, it's so normal to talk about, and it's almost like a hidden lifestyle that you don't talk about. It's a problem. But what a lot of people want to say is this: as a white man in America who knows that a lot of black people are killing each other, you never ask yourself why.
No, that's what I'm asking you right now because you say it's proximity. Okay, but here's the thing: in America, white people live next to white people too.
Jeremy, let me ask you a heart-to-heart question. You seem like you're a family man. Am I not correct? Imagine if no matter what you do, like you can't push forward. Like society has attached a stigma towards black skin. And do you want to know something? I believe that the black token is a I would say a corporate red line rule. They only allow so many black people within a company. They don't want. There are some businesses out, and I'm just being honest. If you open up a restaurant, they don't want a whole bunch of black people working there. And things of that nature in predominant white neighborhoods. Okay, they don't even want black people to be at Starbucks and loiter. Do you know how many loiterers I see at Starbucks that are white, never get told to leave? Blase. A few young black kids go into a Starbucks and they have to freaking leave. The token rule is very real. I know because I've been a token my whole life. Okay, so there's so many obstacles that black people have to go through, and being a man, knowing that the police are assuming you're a criminal, knowing that if you even moved into a certain area, that white people will leave, knowing that you were born with the stigma of your skin color, people automatically thinking that you are going to be this violent criminal. So at some point, people got to feed their families. At some point, people got to survive. It's a survival lifestyle. It's like, I'm going to protect mine. What did you protect yours? You have 100 guns, and you think that that's cool? A black man has 100 guns, and you call him a criminal?
No. I never ever called anybody a criminal for owning guns ever.
What's the difference?
I never would say that. There is a big difference.
There's no difference. You think because you're white and you have 100 guns, you're protecting your property. Guess what? Maybe, just maybe, these black men are trying to protect their stuff too, but they can't do it the way you do it legitimately because they have stigmas that are societal that you won't be a part of to change. Unfortunately, we need white people to change them.
Hang on a second, Andrea. We're talking. The reason that I bring up homicide is because it's the one thing that we can say, yep, the cops aren't going to let that fly, or they're going to overcharge somebody. This person killed this person. And it's the most statistically accurate crime there is. So again, when you say, people are afraid, and you're right about that, and it's not right. But when you look at it culturally and you say, okay, 6% of this group of Americans are committing this much, way over proportionately, of the violence or the murders, aren't you going to be afraid? Because that's the way most Americans look at it. No, I'm not that way.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. Let me pause you, Jeremy. Let me pause you because I'm glad you said that. Because what's happening here is that, Jeremy, I'm trying to get this right, Jeremy, but you're making it very hard for me. And here's the deal. Because you keep bringing up statistics about black people, and we're statistically highly to do this, and statistically highly to do this. So if you're going in with the perception that we are at a higher statistic to commit murder or something of that nature, you are more likely to be afraid of me. We are more likely to have a bad experience with each other. Of your
That's what I'm trying to say. You're right. You're right. Exactly right. That's what I'm saying. The FBI puts out the uniform crime statistics. Everybody gets it. So automatically, this is racial profiling. These people come in like, I'll give you an example. When I've had some kids, and some are black, some are white, but they would come in and their pants would hang down to below their ass. I wouldn't hire them. It wasn't because of their race. It was because I didn't think that was acceptable to be representing my company. Okay. So there's some confusion there, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but Jeremy,
the thing is,
do you know that you could have made a big difference by simply saying, like, projecting what is more professional? Like, it would have been more better to say, okay, young man, or whatever, sir, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to meet you. Unfortunately, I cannot give you the interview today because you're not in a proper professional form. Please come back on another day. If you're available, maybe tomorrow. I'm available on Wednesday in an appropriate a professional interview outfit, and then maybe we could talk about the opportunity. But what if the person was like, okay, but I can't afford it? Like,
here's the thing. It's not that. Okay, I would never do. I'm not a classist.
What if you did the interview anyways, and you didn't judge them and said, you know what, young man, I'm actually going to give you an opportunity, but I'm going to get you a uniform, and it's on me. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. But just know that when you come into the office, to please be in uniform. You know, there's so many other great leader decisions that you could have made.
I understand what you're saying, and there's something to that, but I can't fill in for that father's role that didn't teach him how to do it.
I don't think
I do make a difference.
Jeremy, I think sometimes it's just one of the things you do just to help your fellow American. Where you just say, you know what, brother, you got your pants hanging down. It's not a good look. You know, pull your pants up. And it may be something that you can just plant in someone that could change their life forever. And so it could be a father figure. Nobody's asking you to be someone's father.
Right.
Okay. So let me. I want to ask you guys this. So my lead guy happens to be black. Best worker I got. Guy's freaking awesome, right? So the last two guys that I brought in, and like I said, one was white, one was black. They both had their pants hanging down. Now, he sits in the interviews with me. They come in, and we did do an interview. They do the interviews. They walk out. He talks to me. This is a black guy, okay? Hell of a good worker. And he said, I don't want that little thug or that little thug working here. That wasn't me. It was because he's the one out there working with them. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that this is necessarily a white thing versus black. I think that this is people that have their shit together and people that don't have their shit together type thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Well,
you know
let
what
me
I mean?
rephrase that because I've been a manager
Jeremy.
before, and I've been a department chair before, and I don't think that I would have even let any of my colleagues. I wouldn't have let my principal say it. I wouldn't have let anybody or the manager speak in that way. Number one, to call just because somebody comes in with their pants down doesn't mean they're a thug. And so you're setting that tone for your office or your business that this is the way anybody can talk about people. So I think you should have corrected it and said, well, maybe these individuals are not thugs, but maybe we should have a conversation with them as adults and say, you know, like Georgie said, let's set them on the right path. Even if we don't want to offer them the job, we can at least set them on the right path, but to even allow your employee who works for you to say, oh, I don't want these thugs working in here. That speaks volume for who you are.
Right about that. You are. You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah, but you as an employer, listen, you know, if you don't want employees, then you don't have to make a difference. You don't have to train. You don't have to educate. But because you are an employer, you really took that role. By you know, that's why you get a job. Is so that I can't tell you how many jobs I've had that have changed the course of my career. Because people maybe cared just a little bit more, maybe they didn't, but it really can change somebody. Like getting the opportunity or not getting the opportunity, you could have. That's probably why a lot of people pop off. You know, the lack of leadership in employers. There's so many horrible employers. Let me tell you something. I've had some horrible bosses, it does affect people. And then now he might not feel worthy. So guess what? He goes down the street and they go, "What up, blood? How you doing?" He goes, "I'm not a blood, but I just went to an interview. I didn't get the job." He goes, "Why are you over there freaking trying to get a job, man? Like you could just work right here, work this block. I'll give you money, and you're gonna get mad love." Okay, so now this person just showed them the opposite treatment, and now he's in the gang culture because he needs some sense of leadership. Okay, a lot of people don't understand that it's not just a gang. This is a family style community. You know, this is maybe a lot of us do have missing fathers in the Black community. You know, the fact that people talk about it. I mean, yeah, we look for those. Like for instance, when I date a guy, I didn't realize all the guys I've ever dated, now that I'm single, have been really strict with me. They lock me up. They always tell me what to do, and I realized that the lack of guidance growing up without a father, I'm into that. Like I think that's hot if a guy's like stay home and you know like, ooh, you're telling me what to do. You know, it's spicy. So you know, it's like really I've been looking for men that are like fathers. Like my ex was like a dad. Oh my God, you know. So you know what we lack, we kind of seek. You know what I'm saying? So that speaks volumes about Black people.
I promise you this: it's not just the Black community; every community. Men aren't being men, and that literally, when you talk about gun violence, men not being men is the lead cause of the gun violence. If we fix that, and I don't care if the mom and dad are together, just the father being a father. That's all it would take, and you would watch 90%
are having a difficult time having. Listen, I just wish. Listen, just take care of your kids, and if you can't be there financially, help the mother out. You know, it's just kind of crazy how many people have kids and don't take care of them.
Yeah,
like
no,
I have
you're right.
two baby daddies. They're both white, and they overcompensate. Like I wish they would just go away. I'm having the opposite issue.
So with the abortion stuff
like
going on, if your woman's willing to have the kid, you should feel lucky.
They're on time. You're on time, and you're gonna bring me a cup of coffee, really, bro?
That's pretty awesome, actually.
Like, really?
We're doing the child support.
He's like, "Are you good?" I'm like,
I want to say this, Jeremy, and Jeremy, and I've said this to Andrea before when we had a different debate. I think a lot of problems for inner city kids is lack of exposure to other
you said
things.
that before,
And I encourage you, if you as an employer, I'm an employer as well. If you get an opportunity to expose someone to something that they may not know otherwise because they've only been exposed to selling drugs or they've only been exposed to whatever biases that we have against a population of people or a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
But if we could just expose them to something different, you would be surprised as to how many people would go, you know what, nobody ever told me that I could be whatever your job is that you do, or a company that you run. No one ever told me that. So if you get an opportunity, make it a point. And just one person. If you could just expose one person, they could change the course of their entire family life. Because they can set the standard.
I'll tell you what.
Right.
Yes.
I'll take that challenge because I've got about 4 people I'm going to have to hire, and I will try that. I honestly will.
Good.
If you think it'll make that much of a difference, I will.
It really can.
I really do. I think
That's
you could
great.
change
That's
the course
awesome.
of not just that person, but you could change the course of their entire family.
That's right.
By doing
Listen,
that.
I think Georgie, do you guys know this? Georgie's daughter is biracial. And, I just think that, you're growing from this and that's awesome. We just got to continue to have these conversations. Even I've grown. I used to think that Black people could be racist. I really did. I used to if you guys look at my early videos, you'll see me yelling at some Black creators because they start normalizing calling white people a racist slurs. I do not believe that we should do like calling white people cracker or some type of negative note. I don't even think white people care about these terms, but I just don't rock with that. But what I can say is this: I don't think that Black people can be racist on an effective level because there's just not enough of us, to be honest. Now, if the population grew with Black people, yeah, we could be racist. But I really think because of our population, there's not enough of us. That's why I really feel bad that people don't understand that we're 13% of the population. We're doing 30% of homicide. Like that's a problem. And we're so used to blaming everyone else that we're not realizing that some of this stuff we're perpetuating on our own people due to proximity. And the truth is, if Black people start moving next to white people, the narrative is going to change.
I've got to get off here. My kids are going to bed, but I want to say one thing. You might not agree with me, and you might, but my big thing is that we all look at each other as the enemy. And even on TikTok, you look through it and it's white versus Black or brown versus white. I mean, it's all that. But when you get down to the brass tacks of it, and it's been going on for hundreds of years through different political systems, they derive their power from us being separated, from not having unity together. Amen. And when Americans can start getting together, no matter color, religion, any of that bullshit, and stand together and say, we're Americans. If you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us. That's when our true power will come out, and that's when we'll be free and good.
Okay, I think that's the secret. Forgiveness. Black. Thank you, George.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, listen,
Jeremy.
Thank you. I'm about to go to sleep. I need to.
But even to Jeremy's last point,
go ahead.
I think that the real root of the issue is, number one, we have to get rid of the two, and I've always said this. I've always said that the two biggest gangs, I guess if we want to talk about, we're just talking about gangs, the two biggest gangs in the country is Republicans and Democrats. Because at the end of the day, that is that they are the dividers between who we are. We divide amongst those policies, but if we get rid of those into two groups of power, then the country can probably heal.
Yeah. The two-person party thing, I think is ridiculous. Yeah, absolutely. We need to do something new. Hey, Creed, how are you doing?
What's up, Creed? Brent, what's going on, man?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Good. Welcome.
Yeah, I was listening, and it it seems like they he was saying many of the things I always hear, and it seems that white people tend to use our experience or talk about our experience based off of statistics that was created because of the oppression, different forms of oppression, and it seems like our lives are is a study, and I don't know if it was him or I forgot who I was talking about, but they said they wrote a paper about Black history, And I said, well, who did you study? And they was like, oh, well, I said, who? Like a name? That was just one name. And so they talked about what we should do and what needs to be done and this and that, and they didn't have no name. It's all a study. It's all a science. It's all experiment. You know, we've been experimented. There's been experiments for centuries about us.
Yeah.
And it still
They
is an
used to think we
experiment.
weren't a part of the same
It's a
species.
study.
Really? Anything
It's a
to
study.
protect white supremacy, you know. But they had to, in those times, they had to think of a way to justify the inhumane practices that were going on. You know?
That is true.
And then to say now, well, I didn't do it, so therefore do nothing. You know, for centuries, Black people in this country have been used and abused for a long time. 50 years ago, Ruby Bridges is 67. She's still alive. Okay. As when people talk about racism like it was a long time ago, it was 50, like lawfully, it was 50 years ago. It wasn't that long. We have not made it that far out of racism. And those people that were making the laws then, these racist policies like redlining, are still alive today. So it's going to take time to fix it. But how do we fix it? You start where you started. So when Black people first came here, they ripped us from our culture. We need our culture back. And that they have embedded so many lies over time that I believe it's almost a part of our genetics to think that we are ugly because we're dark or we're stupid or lazy. So we need to promote that we're smart. We need to rewrite the lies in society. I think we've done a pretty good job about that, music wise, with a lot of music that's out there right now. Mine is My Brown Eyed Girl. We need to change the narrative, and white people need to be on board, because now that your ancestors jacked it up, it's up to you today to fix it, to say they did that, but this is what we're doing. We're going to make it better for tomorrow for every American, especially people of color. They need to go above and beyond to assure that they're doing everything humanly possible to be an anti-racist by any means necessary, and never to allow racist rhetoric via politicians, via lobbyists, via anybody publicly. You are not allowed to discriminate. Race is a protected class. This CRT talk for Judge Ketanji Brown, Jackson. Are you kidding me? They brought up a black book at an interview to be a part of the Supreme Court. Are you serious? A judge didn't even say this is a protected class. This is discrimination. Would they have done that to any white person bringing up a CRT book?
Of course not. Why would they would do that?
Shut it down. White people need to shut it down. As soon as you see it, have no tolerance for it. Black people should start holding white people accountable. There's so much money. Who needs reparations? There's so much money to be had. People are going to continue. Do you know how much money in real estate? Listen, George, you probably already know this. If you were discriminated in real estate, I'm talking dope. First offense is like, I think, $25,000 in Connecticut. If you've been discriminated, and it goes higher and higher. I'm telling you. You know how many people tell me that they couldn't get a house or they couldn't do this? I'm like, you better lawyer up. When you start holding people accountable, I bet you they'll stop doing it. White people like their money. They wouldn't mess with it.
I love, and I'm gonna have to just. I don't normally read I see the comments, don't normally engage in them, but it's so funny. I like somebody who says she can't say what a woman is. Those things just sound so vague and so stupid. I just don't even acknowledge them. I do have a question for Georgie, because
some racist people in the comment section.
Of course they are. They're dumb. Georgie, my question to you is: I know you say it quite often. You said you are a conservative. Why do you say you are a conservative? Because I think that there's we get those words tied up.
Listen, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So you're a conservative.
It stops when I become the president of the United States of America.
But no, because let's be clear. A lot of people always tell me that, and I have no qualms of where I lean and where my votes are, but I think that we all have some sort of conservatism in us, and we all have some sort of socialistic methods in us, and we all have some liberal ideas in us. So I think when people go and they say, "Well, I'm a staunch conservative," that's not really true in most cases. You know, so I wanted to make sure that I understand when you say that. Are you saying you're conservative and you never think of liberal ideas and you never think of socialist ideas? I just want to make sure I was clear.
No, I agree with you 100%. I think that everyone, just in certain aspects, they have socialist ideas, they have liberal ideas, and they have conservative ideas. And I've said this before, and I've said this on the show before. I think most minority people, if you just want to go down where we're saying checks and balances of what is morally conservative leaning, most minorities are conservative leaning. They just don't. The stigma of saying, "Oh, I'm more conservative leaning," and they painted this as being a racist thing. But if you look at the death penalty, most people of color agree with it. Religion, most people of color are fairly religious. So there are a lot of things that people of color are conservative leaning on, and there's things that they're liberal on. So I don't think to say that I'm 100% one way just because I said the word and it's provoking. You know,
you are conservative though.
Yeah, I am conservative. Yeah,
but when you say you're conservative, I get that you have conservative viewpoints.
But there are things that I agree with on the left and so on and so forth. So we just sometimes disagree on how we're going to get there.
Right.
Like I can agree with you 100% on that.
I have no tolerance for the freaking gun. So I guess you could say I am a conservative on the subject of gun control because I am sick of the mess. I'm sick of the madness. Okay. And my grandma said, "Stop the madness." Until the day she died, she said, "Stop the madness." And you guys that are law abiding citizens are protecting law. You guys are protecting basically our loose gun laws and lax gun laws where it's going to allow for more criminals to reign supreme. Listen, if you want to keep your gun, that's great. But why would you not want stricter gun laws for criminals? If you are law abiding, no matter how strict the law is, you're going to abide by it, right? So why aren't we doing everything humanly possible to make sure these criminals? So all these freaking excuses today. Oh yeah, they're gonna buy guns in the hall in the streets in the back rows. They're gonna freaking buy guns online. They're gonna buy. So why aren't we making sure that that's not possible? Okay, we need to make it hard for people to become criminals. We need to have, I don't think we need more policing. I think we need better policing. Okay, we need to go back and make sure Republicans are not in the way of the George Floyd Policing Act. The George Floyd Policing Act could help end a lot of the issues in Black communities. Black men feel that they're scared of the cops. Why? Because they are disproportionately being affected by cops, 3 times more likely to be killed by a freaking cop. This is facts. Okay. And did you see that black guy who got shot? He was trying to run away from the cops and they freaking put like 100 bullets through the car. He was trying to leave. He was leaving for his life. Okay, so he's a criminal, but he was like, "I want to live." Are you kidding me? Why are the SWAT coming to freaking murk somebody without going through due process? It's not right.
I like when these people too in the comments you all keep saying criminals. Let's be clear. Law-abiding citizens break the law too. I mean, when you decide you want to go 5 miles over the speed limit or 10 miles over the speed limit, you have just broken the law. So I think when you guys keep saying criminals are the only ones that break laws, it's you guys are just not your thinking is so limited. So I think you have to open your mind on things when you start talking and spewing this kind of misinformation. But nonetheless, I do think I hear what you're saying.
I'd go further.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'd go further. I'd go further to say it's mostly law-abiding citizens. Though it used to be law. It used to be law-abiding citizens.
Yeah, you guys ever heard of straw man purchases? Who's doing that?
Law-abiding citizens. Law-abiding citizens. So you would no longer a law-abiding citizen. So to classify them as a criminal, you would be a criminal.
Right, but let me ask you this. It's almost like that. It's almost like that movie called To Make a Murderer. Let me ask you guys a question. Do you think he actually murdered those people? Because that's why it's a famous movie. Like they created and planted that guy to make it seem like he's a murderer. And I'm telling you, in every freaking documentary, he's like, I did not kill that lady. Like, he's screaming it to the mountaintops, but the damage is already done. And to hold the police accountable would tear down the trust. How many people lose their job? There's something that they're protecting. So the law itself is not really right now. So why can't we start there?
But if we look at historical and we go back for guns for African Americans, particularly, they have had been resourceful. Initially, we couldn't have a gun, so they were dragging us out of our houses and killing us and so on and so forth. So when we got guns, that stopped, right? You fast forward to the Black Panthers, right? Then they wanted gun laws. When the Black Panthers started getting guns, they wanted to limit the amount of bullets you could have and have ammunition laws, and which basically is some of the things they're suggesting now. So when we say get rid of guns, eradicate guns totally, I think in a lot of ways they've been beneficial for African American people if we're going to have conversations around that. So getting rid of
statistically, Georgie, but statistically, when it comes to Black people in this country, the problem is us.
What do you mean by that?
Like, we're killing each other at high rates than any other race, killing our own people.
But
that goes back to your. I'm sorry, go ahead, Georgie.
I don't think if we're killing each other at a high rate, it would be with a gun or with something else, right? So murder is murder, no matter what the tool is. So this is what what on the left I think that they do that drives me nuts, right? I think the left also exacerbates racism for minorities, right? Because they never come out and correct things like that. They just let it. It goes out there and they never correct it. But they come back and say, well, we have to be your hero and save you from these things there. And it doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't sit right with
crime. It's called crime due to proximity.
I'll agree to that.
So
it's based on the people you see on a daily basis.
Listen, I'm a realtor, and so is George. And we're going to be honest with you, and tell me if I'm wrong. A lot of desirable neighborhoods, okay, are expensive. But why are they expensive? I would say this, in my state, it's usually because of the schools have good reputations. Also, the town is deemed desirable because it has low crime rates. So you guys have to understand that in the areas with upticks of gun violence, it's probably because the education is getting hit some way, shape, way, or form. Maybe the teachers are exhausted because of the type of kids that are in the schools, things that are being allowed culturally. Let's just be honest, there are things that are normalized in the Black community that kids do that maybe some people, I don't know, maybe they freaking just bad. I don't know sometimes. But the lack of education, the lack of funds has everything to do with it, as well as the over policing, the scaremongering, constantly having a fear that the cops are going to kill you, not being able to get jobs. These areas that are undesirable, the proximity is the issue of the location, as far as where's the money going? Okay, a lot of people probably don't own their homes. That tax money is supposed to go to the schools, go to the policing, go to the fire station, go to everything. So you have to understand, if there's upticks of areas of violence, it's because of the area. They're getting so why are people struggling in these areas? Because they're not getting employment. Okay, they're not getting employed, point blank period, and they're not wanting to employ legitimately. I'm telling you, there's a lot of people in Chicago right now that got business in the basement. There's hairstylists, there's car salesmen. They all are entrepreneurs, but they're not doing things on the books. I promise you, if people start promoting for independent contractor businesses, we're just get the LLC. It costs like $300. Get on the books. You might see some change. Now people can realize, well, wow, it's really easy actually to maybe work for yourself and make money legitimately. Okay, so we have to make business on the streets legitimate. And once people realize they can start producing their own money, then they're going to employ people around the proxy. Everybody benefits when people are doing good. That's just how it works.
Well, but I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm also looking at these folks in the comments. And I think because as you're saying, somebody said the problem with guns is not just black people. Nobody said that. I don't think anybody in this live said that. And then someone else said over policing is not a thing. It really is. I mean, I promise you, I know the communities that are, I promise, and not where I live, but I do live in a predominantly more so a white neighborhood. And I promise you, I don't see many police, but I promise you, I go into my communities where my people who look like me live, and I promise you, there's a police person on every single freaking corner. Why is that the case? Because honestly, if truth be told, people break more laws in the white neighborhoods, but they're not here to catch those people because they're in the black communities trying to catch them. So over policing does happen. So anybody that's saying that it doesn't is false and taking it to themselves.
Black men are not allowed to say that they're scared. You know, being a man, just being a man in general in this country, if it don't matter what race
you're
not
always in black neighborhoods either, idiot.
They are meant to have this strong exterior. So, you know, could you imagine how long black men have said that we are scared of the cops and nobody's doing anything about it? Why are just regular people scared of cops? Because they're killing them and they don't care. And they also protect each other. Listen, Sandra Bland was murdered. I don't care. It's not just black men. Sandra Bland was murdered in prison. People are dying not only in the streets, they're dying throughout the arrest process, waiting for due process. They're dying and nothing is being done. People are getting paid leave and going back to work business as usual. Slapping Five's good job.
No, I'm kind of going to throw a wrench in it a little bit. I don't think necessarily a lot of it has to do with over policing. I think what happens is you have a lot of crime in a certain area. Police officers go to work. They deal with someone who looks like me on a high risk job that is and never in a positive manner when they encounter someone like me in those neighborhoods, right? And so their instinct is to instantly go to the worst part. And so I think it's partially biased. They don't understand some of the mannerisms, some of the actions, where I could go probably in that same scenario and go, he's talking loud. That's just how my cousin does. He's the same way. It doesn't bother me. So I think a lot of it is not necessarily over policing. I think it's lack of understanding the culture. To when you are exposed to the culture, the circumstances that you are exposed to the culture in. And so when we say that we don't see them in white neighborhoods, or because I personally don't fear the police. I don't care if it's 20 of them, I walk through them, it doesn't bother me not one bit. I don't think I'm going to get shot or killed or anything like that. So how do we tackle the issue of crime in those neighborhoods without just saying it's just only because you're black, so you're likely to go to commit crime because you don't have jobs, you don't have this? How do we address the issue of crime so that we're not exposed to negative encounters with police officers?
I think we got to get more employment. I think the employment is an issue. A lot of people that are in poverty, more whites than blacks, to be honest, are leaning on government programs and also doing things on the side. I know it will cause a lot of uproar, but I don't think that government assistance is what we need. I think we need actual full blown out employment. And how do you do that? You give incentives to people like us that work for ourselves that can hire, and maybe some tax write-offs or tax breaks. That'd be awesome. Being an entrepreneur, taxes are scary because you owe at the end. Could you imagine if we were tax exempt, if we hired X amount of people in this demographic or something like that, some type of incentive for hiring people within our proximity? I'm telling you, you're going to get changed. Listen, you guys know I'm in real estate. The first time I cashed a $7,000 check, I was just forever changed. I just cannot believe that you can make that much money in real estate off of one deal that I worked on for a long time, but you can make a lot of money. So could you imagine if people had a better, you don't need $15 an hour, the training to maybe do real estate or maybe do mortgage lending, or maybe do car salesman. Let me tell you something. There's a shortage on cars right now, and you can make a lot of money selling a car. I know commission based is difficult, but once you learn the trade, you can make a lot of freaking money. So having centers where people can teach and get incentives. Could you imagine having like a convention maybe once a month in Chicago or something where people can come and not be afraid to beg for a job, to ask for a job, and go to seminars and learn how to be a realtor, how to be maybe a teacher. TK Roll's a teacher. People don't understand that you only need 2 years. You could be a substitute teacher, 2 years of school, and you could be a helper of a teacher. You can make they make okay money, but maybe we give teachers more money. So we really got to address the economical issues in these areas where gun violence is upticked, because I believe when people are paid, they're good. People that are comfortable don't want. Why do they want to do crime? They're chilling in the freaking house.
Mm-hmm.
They're
I agree with you that. I think it goes back to, again, we have got to put systems in place in these neighborhoods that prevent people from committing crimes. And that goes back to education, to resources in regards to learning a trade to be self-sufficient.
Right.
I think you tackle drugs by saying, okay, fine, we're going to go and we're going to let the drug dealers come to whatever, a seminar or whatever, and learn how to grow. And then we're going to make it easy for you to get land somewhere in Ohio or Nebraska, wherever, so that you can start learning to grow and you can sell to dispensaries and so on and so forth. They're going to bring a lot of the people that they've been with on the street. You reduce crime that way, or drug dealing that way. And the person who's running the salon, you teach them, instead of how to be just a hairstylist, how to run a business instead.
Yes.
The person that's running the bodega on the corner, you teach them how not just to have a bodega, but how to run an entire business. You bring somebody in from 7-Eleven or Shell Station or whatever, you teach them how to run it like a business. So I think when we start doing things like that and stop making it as if, oh, because they're Black, they can't do this, and because we're Black, we can't do that, and so we have to give them an exemption. I think what we start doing is putting those type of resources. Now, I don't think it's more government assistance. I think it's more resources like that we'll see a positive change in crime in these areas. We'll see less negative police encounters. And then your instances where Black on Black crime, I think it will reduce.
Absolutely. Like, for instance, a lot of people talk about reparations, and I am pro reparations. I do think it's overdue. Okay. But a lot of people think when I say reparations, I think that you just want to give me money. No, I understand that, white people also have to work hard and go to school and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. You have to understand, over time, Black people for centuries, have been affected because of not being able to read and not being able to go to good schools. Ruby Bridges had to take a test to go to kindergarten. So yes, I know that I wasn't a part of, I wasn't born in the 1960s. However, who do you think helped raise me? My great grandmother and my mom and my grandmother. All three of them raised me. I'm one of the oldest. I was born in 1985. So there were times where my mom didn't know how to spell things, because her mother and grandmother were part of the racist era. I remember always having to tell my mom how to spell stuff, because she didn't know. She's still alive today. I believe my mother was affected from the Jim Crow law. She was born in the 1960s. So if you were born through the Jim Crow law,
we're being affected. We're being affected right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because you want to know why? We are descendants of a marginalized race in this country that has been freaking really cruelly treated in this country for centuries, and still to this day. I'm a descendant of slavery. I'm a descendant of the Jim Crow law. I'm a descendant of a whole bunch of heinous things that happened to my freaking people. And guess what? It still affects me, because when I walk down the street, the first thing some people think, and I do believe this, and maybe this is something that's just embedded in my mind due to the media, due to the movies, is that I'm a Black woman first. Like, this is a Black lady, not just a woman in business. I'm a Black woman in business.
Oh, that's what they do think. They do. Many of them do think
you
that,
want me to knock on your door?
based on our race, that we are nothing. We have nothing. I mean, think about it. It was just the other day. I think it was Friday. We were on this conversation, and we were talking about. You asked the question about people. Why don't our community, take a trip and go to Africa? And we were talking about how we don't have really those resources to just pick up and just go. And then one guy says, "Oh, stop acting like you're broke." And I'm like, whoa, First off, I never said I was broke. I was trying to explain the circumstances for why we don't be able to take certain trips. And I mean, it's just like this other person, and I'm not going to say their name in here because they're speaking rhetoric that has nothing to do with us, but they keep talking about move on. So what? Move on, and they're the problem. So that's the type of problem that we have here, and what you're saying
listen,
is exactly the point.
I do believe in the essence of moving. Okay, listen, we're dying at high rates in Black neighborhoods due to proximity. Black people, stop living next to each other and start moving. Sorry, don't people get mad at me because I'm like, okay, so you just want us to move where we live? Yes. Guess what? Harriet Tubman had to move all the Black people in the slavery, 300,000, I believe she saved through the Underground Railroad to go up north. Why were they going up north? Why did they have to leave everything? Because where the north was the free states. That's where the opportunity was. You have to go where the opportunity is. And unfortunately, unless we could just stop killing each other, that would be nice.
I mean, but you said you both, you and Rose said something a moment ago where people see us as Black first, right? And I think when we start teaching critical race theory, where you start teaching that I am different than everyone else, in my opinion, that creates a whole other problem. I just want you to see me as a person. I don't need you to see me as any different than you. I don't need you to learn about me. I am not a study. No, I don't need that. And I think for many people of color, I think starting to kind of explore critical race theory and teaching that, to me, it seems scary. It seems scary.
For me, I think it's imperative. When I learned about critical race theory and how it was becoming quite a popular topic, I thought, wow, because you know what? There's never been a time in history class when I was in grade school that I thought that this was conducive for me. I really felt really attacked in society, being the only Black girl in my whole class and having to read about my people, reinforcing the ideologies that I was less than because of my skin. Like, I really think that history really reinforces racism. Okay, so if you can sit there and tell me about my people being in chains and all these negative things, and then have a nice conversation about the Tea Party, Boston Tea Party, like that's like really cute, right? Let's talk about the Boston Tea Party. But it's to me, it's not right to not bring on the whole story. Like, I think critical race theory is important because it gets society to have conversations that are uncomfortable and figure out what the problem is, and tell the truth. Like, most of our history that's been written has been lies. Okay, and you want to know how I know that? Critical race theory. If you really understand, like, for instance, like, people that aren't educated, they just think that, oh, the Emancipation Proclamation happened in what, 68? No, not 1968. Wait, 1865. I'm sorry, 1865. People think that the Emancipation Proclamation happened in 1865, so therefore Black people were free. Oh no, not even close. Critical race theory will teach you that it took 2.5 years for a white man named Gordon Granger to announce on an Ashton villa that Black people were free. How the hell did they know they were free? They weren't even allowed to read, had no money or resources, and the government wanted to give them $100 to freaking leave. $100, which I think it's like probably like what? How much nowadays? Not, that ain't that much. I don't care how you put it. So the truth is, the CRT is telling the true story. A lot of people say, oh, there was a little Black girl who got into a segregated school, and look, we did a good job. But they don't tell you that only 5 Black kids got in, and they had to take a test to go into kindergarten. So it's really breaking down the whole truth, so help us God.
But I think that's Black history, and I think critical race theory is something, in my opinion, from what I have seen of it and know of it, it's totally different. It's where you're almost going, okay, well, Andrea, she's white, and George, you're
definitely not white.
Black. And
maybe somewhere down the line, but
you have to treat him this kind of way, and the reason why he's quote unquote statistically more violent is because of this, and so on and so forth. And then you start reading me as this different person. Just I want to walk into a room and just be seen as George. I don't want to walk into a room and you have to
Yeah,
make an
but
exception
George,
because I'm Black.
unfortunately, because we're not there yet, it doesn't matter how much you want to be treated with equity and beautiful treatment as a person in this country. Unfortunately, society has a whole nother narrative about you as a Black man. Unfortunately, if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time and you have a hoodie on or maybe even a hat, I know that you probably wouldn't hurt a fly. You always look good and prim and pressed anyway. But that could be a secret to stopping some of the societal issues. I think we need to listen to what the enemy says. Like a lot of people say, like Black people dress. It's scary to see. You don't have the right to your pants are sagging down. You look like you're in prison and stuff like that. But if you wear a hoodie, you want to have a regular day. Uh, a white cop could just draw his gun and maybe accidentally pull the trigger and kill you because they assume because you're a Black man driving that you're going to be violent. This is what I've learned on TikTok. This is what the racist people listen, there's no, you don't have to make it bad or good. This is what they say here. So people ask me, what do you do? I talk to racist people and they say Black men are violent. Guess what? You can't stop the fact that you're a Black man. No matter how much intellect you have, education, you are a Black man first. That's what they see. So your life, honestly, could be in danger because you're 3 times more likely to be killed by a cop than a white man, just simply by having darker skin. And you're in your light skin. It doesn't matter. If they think that you're Black, they're going to think that you're violent. So you have got to be a part of the awareness. Okay. And why do they think that we're violent? Because we are. I know that there's reasons, Haiti, but there's no excuses. We've got to stop protecting things that are hurting us, including each other.
I need you to clarify that one. What do you mean by we are violent? What do you mean?
So we are a part of homicide. So a lot of people ask me, Andrea, what is your goal in this? My goal is to look at the gun statistics and see the numbers go down via homicide. We are killing each other at higher rates than most. We have got to stop being a part of homicide. I don't know, find another way via the gun. We're killing each other. I'm not doing it. They are, but I'm a part of it because I'm Black. You see what I'm saying? We don't have a choice. How do we get to the criminals? Well, what is a criminal anyway? A person that decides one day to break the law. We need to talk to these young kids first, right? Like my dream is if I ever got funded to travel, I would go to every elementary school that does a kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. I would go to elementary, middle school, and high school, and I would talk to them the way I'm talking to you guys. I would tell them about the gun statistics and the likelihood of a young Black boy being killed by a police officer but most importantly, by his neighbor. I would have them look at each other, especially if it's a predominant Black school. I would have them look at each other and tell them each other's names and give them a hug and have some type of practice to make them love their neighbor. But did you know if your neighbor has a gun, your neighbor more likely is going to kill you? And if it's not him, it's the person behind you. Right? So you're more than likely going to kill your friend or maybe your friend's brother or things of that nature if you have a gun due to proximity. So if you take that gun from the proximity, you're more than likely not going to kill them by gun at high rates.
So there are two things in here. And
if you want a gun, become a cop.
I'm going to so African Shogun. Number one, I didn't call you idiot. If you actually go back, I actually responded. Yours one was the other person's. So let's make sure that's clear. To your point, Andrea, I think we have to also start addressing. We have to also address that there are other people who start addressing. We have to also address that there are other people who do. Because we're talking about us, but I want to make sure that we address that because even within our community.
We're talking about us.
I'm not deflecting. I'm not, but I wanted to make sure that it's clear that there is violence on
Yeah, of course.
everywhere. But I do think with our community, I know you're going back to guns, but I think within our community, we lost a long time ago what it was in our community that was helping us, which was the community. What is it? The saying is, what is
takes
it?
a village.
It takes a village, and I think we lost that. People no longer believe in that. It's like, oh well, what you do in your house is your house, your business. I don't really care what's going on. No, it was about the community. So if I kid you not, and we know this, all of us that are here now probably know this, that if I did something in the neighborhood, I'd probably get whooped by the neighbor. Then my neighbor would tell my parents, and then I get another whooping at home.
I don't believe in slave practices. So
but you're missing the point. You're missing the. I'm not talking about slave practice, but we're missing the point. What I'm saying is that we've forgotten about that part in our own community. We have forgot that part. The village is what takes care of each other. So if we're not taking care of each other because we don't care what's going on in everybody else's household, then we're missing that. And that's where we need to come back to.
That starts with culture reformation. I think we need a culture reconstruction. I mean, like there's things that I'm African American, proud of it. But there's things that I have learned from white people, to be honest. Like a lot of white people get made fun of for not hitting their kids. Honestly, it's so normalized in Black culture that it almost makes me want to purge. Like I can't. It makes me sick to my stomach how normalized it is to beat your kids. And then you wonder why they have poor anger issues or have a resentment when you brought these kids into your life and you take weapons like belts and switches and beat them. I was that Black kid. And I just still to this day will never understand how a parent can beat their kids to physically harm them because they did what kids do.
But you're saying, but you're insinuating that it was beating.
No, I'm telling you, it's
because I'm going to be clear. I don't know about you, and I can't speak for you, but I'm saying my parents never beat me. Did I get a whooping? Did I get discipline? Yes, but my parents never beat me. So I think when you say that, you emphasize that it was beating.
Well, let's talk about it, TK. So you got whipped by your kid, when you were a kid.
Okay.
How did that make you feel? Honestly, as a kid, or go back to that day. How did you feel during and after?
What do you mean? How do I feel?
How did you feel? How did you feel when your parents would discipline you in a physical manner?
Well, I knew that I'd done something wrong. That's what I knew.
And then so what? So you learned that when you do something wrong, what happens?
That you get punished for it.
You inflict pain.
Right, but I want to make sure it's clear though. While that may have, while it may have inflicted pain, I turn out to be a great person. I'm not out here one of these people who are mass shooting up buildings and stuff like that.
But you're saying, but in society, in a cultural standpoint, you're saying it was okay.
What do you mean that? What do you mean by what I'm saying?
That what your parents did to you when you did something wrong, they inflict pain onto you. You felt it. Your skin probably got some type of welts,
okay,
or things of that nature. Like when I used to get hit with the belts, I used to have like these long welts on my legs. I used to play with them because they would rise. Let me tell you something. I can tell you right now, I have 5 brothers and sisters. We were all whipped, and I remember hearing the cries on a day-to-day basis and knew, one of my brothers did something wrong. But the sound of my older brother crying as a teenager, getting whipped, or my stepdad picking him up by his neck and holding him up to the wall while my mom eats sardines. Stepdad would do that. Or him telling me to take off my I used to layer my pants. I used to wear Jinko pants. I used to layer it and telling me to, I'm saying? Like it really goes far left is what I'm saying. Like just having that sense of fear of your parents. That is just not a good way to live. When you're constantly in fear, it creates PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It creates trauma. So these people have to assimilate into society knowing that this is normal. So why would you care if somebody hits you or things like that? Some men become abusive because they feel like, okay, so I was hit by people I love. You did something wrong. Now you're in love with a woman. She did something wrong. What are you going to do? Okay, well, why wouldn't it be okay to hit her when you've been taught your whole life to hit people when they do something wrong? It's not good.
I think you just equated
So
two different things in there.
you think
What I'm telling
you
you is
think
I've
whoopings
never. What
beat?
I'm telling you is I never have hit my kids and never have had to. And guess
But
what? All I gotta do is look at my kids because I talk to them. Right now, if I tell my daughter she's 15 years old, she's starting getting the mouth, the talkbacks. If she thinks that I'm going to reprimand her by my mouth, guess what she does? She puts her head up straight and she goes, "I'm sorry." Like her fear is me being disappointed because I've instilled respect via cognitive. I make my kids, if they did something bad, I want you to think about what you did. The worst thing you could ever do is make them think, "Oh my God, what did I do? What could you have done different?" And when my kids break something, I never make them get in trouble if they drop something. I say, "So what happened here? Okay, how can we make sure that this doesn't happen again?" My son is 5, okay, and this is how I talk to him. Okay, so you dropped your milk, but you already knew that I told you not to be dancing on the table or near the table or something like that. So you have to navigate people. Even at a young age, you teach them instead of just beating them. You know, poor parenting is really normalized. Yeah. Oh. So
so I don't. Again, there are two different issues that you raised here. One, you did raise, like I think you said, when your brother was being held up by your father by his neck against the wall. That's abuse. That is true abuse. That's not discipline. That's abuse. Now, when we're talking about the raising of the community, we all can have those conversations. Number one, let's be clear: those conversations are not being had now because a lot of people, even if we're going to stick with our community, are kids having kids. So we lost somewhere in our community where we have those conversations about, okay, what do we do in our community? We can talk to her blue in the face. I can go into our community now and talk to them blue in the face. Is somebody listening? Maybe 1 out of 10, maybe.
I think
But even with these people who are talking about, even when you said physical punishment or something of that nature. Well, do you know that when teams or athletic teams don't win, their coaches make them run laps? That's punishment because they didn't
okay, well,
win.
let me tell you
So are
this.
you looking at those in
Let
the
me tell
same
you
way?
this. I've been doing this for 3 years, and there are days when I come here, I'm like, "What am I doing? I should just concentrate on my career." And then I'll get like a DM. I don't read all the messages. I got a lot of them. I'm not to say that I'm anybody, but I have a lot of messages. And sometimes when I'm bored, I do read them, and I'll see like a little comment from a younger person. You guys don't even know how many young people are on TikTok, and they told me, Andrea, ever since I've been watching your show, I love politics. I love learning about things pertaining to like Trump or Biden or having debates. Oh, I love having debates. Having the conversation creates social change, societal change, literally. So you can have as many gun laws as you want, but until society is aware of the issues and is able to do things about it, like culture is verbal, is what I'm saying. So look at Jeremy. He comes here all the time and talks racist rhetoric. Today, George, you did something to his spirit. And he said, "You know what? I never thought of it that way." I'm sorry. And he said this. I could not believe this. He said, "You know what? I think I'm going to do that now. I think I'm going to hire somebody instead of fight." Like he felt guilty. He felt like bad about it. You just changed somebody's course in their employment. That is powerful. So, why do people go to church? What does church do? It's a place to go where people can change pathways. They find Christ, they find God, they find religion. There is a sense of worthiness within community. We've created a community. There's 182 people here. How many of you guys have guns right now? And I'm telling you right now to lock your guns, or your kids could use it, or somebody can unintentionally
you know
die.
what?
Things
While you
like
were
that.
talking, I was thinking too. I
You
think
can make a difference, is what I'm saying.
what you guys were saying when you said the guns are a lot of the issue in the black community or whatever. I think one of the bigger issues is that we've normalized a lot of bad behavior. And to Rose's point, where he said, you know, it was the village because bad behavior wasn't normalized then. And so in a lot of ways, we've normalized it. Okay, it's standard that you do this because you're in a poor neighborhood. It's okay that you do this because you're black. It's okay that you do this because white people are racist, you know, and you do it because of racism. And so I think in a lot of ways, we've normalized things that we should not have normalized. And that it is to the detriment or not to the benefit for people of color, you know. So I think we have to stop normalizing a lot of things that we've okayed,
Right.
and stop giving excuses for it.
Right. But you know, guess what? Listen, we learned a lot. Like today, like I really do agree that this is off topic. This is what we were talking about before, but because I'm about to go, I'm getting people upset here. I'm at my friend's house. But he said white people feel like they have to feel guilty for being white. And I have to say, I think that's true. I think white people do feel this sense of like I have to feel guilty. Like black people can say black power, but white people can't say white power. You know, there's so many societal rules that really don't really help. You know, so what can we do as black people to make not protect white people, but to be better? Why can't we forgive for what has happened and gain their camaraderie, right? Not be upset by things that they say and start having these conversations to make them understand that not all black people are the same. Maybe they don't know a lot of black people. Maybe they don't have a black friend. Maybe they don't have a black neighbor. Haiti, calm down. So by being an example, you can make change. You know what I'm saying? So many people are so afraid to turn the other cheek. And like, you're going to kill somebody over gang freaking stuff. Turn the other cheek. Live to fight another day. You know what I'm saying? So just being a better person is all it really freaking takes. Yeah, don't let people's words affect you so much. Listen, you can call me an N-word all day. I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to look in the mirror and say, you a dang lie. You know, so it is what it is. All right, guys, I got to go. George, it was great talking to you. TK always. See you guys in the morning. Gotta go. Have fun, guys. Hey, don't stay up too late.
I'm going to bed. Take care, guys.
All right, take care.
All right.